sometimes domains clash into each other. But for the most part, they are completely separated. So, for instance, Barovia, the one that everyone knows about from Strahd, that one is actually in the center. It's one of the smallest ones, and it has nothing to do with what we're playing today. One thing that's really important: every single Domain of Dread entity inside of their domains, once they're in their domains, are level 25, and I want that to be known right off the bat. That means Kaz and Vecna are at least level 25, so keep that in mind. There are no canon level 25s yet at all until the book comes out, number one. And number two, these are second edition like born anyway, so they even have more powerful layer actions and all kinds of things. So just keep all that in mind as well. Everyone should know that before they like go and be like, I'm gonna go fight Vecna. Like he is legitimately like level 25.
I'm gonna go fight Vecna.
Yeah, so
Right
heads
now.
up with that. So
You should do it.
yeah, so I mean, you can. He actually has a stat block. He can be killed. So same with Cass, um, but it'll be hard. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that these were written in late 70s, early 80s, and they're the best parts of the Domains of Dread. They're the non-monster like bullshit. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. Domains of Dread were actually written for 10-year-olds. So the Domains of Dread, like most D&D, I was targeted audience 10 and above. Although weird 80s like 10 and above with like half naked women and stuff, but the reality is that because that's what TSR was back then. It was a very strange demographic they were going at, but it was originally written for 10-year-olds, which is why you have fucking Strahd, who is literally Dracula. You have the Wolfman, the Mummy, all these other like really stupid tropes. Those modules are actually really, really awful. However, especially the Frankenstein one. However, what we're playing was actually written by Mont Cook and Gaiax and a couple other people. It's actually brilliant, as well as most of the Domains of Dread that have nothing to do with the monster stuff. And that's what's canon in our world, to keep that in mind as well. Strahd still exists. I just changed him dramatically. Same thing with some of the other ones. I took out the Frankenstein nonsense and some other things, but I just want everyone to know that heads up front as well. So if you do go and like start reading stuff or like go through, just know that not everything is going to be exactly the same. Although this one is very, very similar. And they are incredibly dark, even though they were targeted at 10-year-olds. These are incredibly dark, like 80s, like satanic panic, like era darkness. Like this is really like the epitome of why all the moms were like, Dungeons and Dragons is for Satanists, and we can't let our kids play. Like this is part of that reason. So just know that it is actually kind of like the grimmest, darkest fantasy that exists within D&D. So. All right. Outside of that, I think we should be good. Who wants to do the recap?
I'll do it.
Did anybody get
Get what?
my coat check?
Your what?
Oh, right after you explained about the shadow and how evil this place is. And I said they don't call me Kolchak.
Oh yes, I know Kolchak is the Night Stalker.
Oh
yeah. Right.
Did you? Macmore might be the only person that's actually played in this. Like I think Macmore played second edition, right? Did you ever play Domains of Dread?
No, never played Domains of Dread. It was all cool. Yeah, it's all second edition, but it was all.
This was at the very end. This is when they changed. Domains of Dread was written to kill second edition. The Vecna series that you guys are playing through was literally the last module written in second edition. So they ruined the world with this and then started 3.5. That was the whole point. So
no, I didn't play modules. It's all
yeah, cool.
All home, it's all my written stuff.
Cool. All right. Sorry. So let's go ahead and go with the recap, and then we'll start up.
Okay. So the session began with a discussion of the note left behind by the mysterious cloaked figure and what the group's next move should be. After the discussion, each person moved to investigate a different part of the room, and Pan noticed that there was a breeze coming from somewhere behind the throne. As their investigations continued, Erasmus voiced his displeasure about moving forward, saying that the group could die if they continued any further into the tomb. Gretna pointed out that we were not just fighting for self-preservation, but rather to save the continent and everyone on it. CO still agreed with Erasmus, saying out loud she did not think the party was strong enough to beat Azrak, and that attempting to do so would only put the party and Luskan in danger. At that moment, a voice began to speak, prompting Kino and apocalyptic future that they manage to avoid through their actions. The voice warns the group that if they continue forward, Astrak will torture them to death, but Kino manages to convince the group that they are the ones that are best suited to defeating Astrak. Erastus eventually reveals that the skulls on the throne are the mechanism to open the wall, but they can't be investigated further until the scepter and crown are safely removed from the throne. Meanwhile, a portal opened near the Wish Gem, revealing a wizard Kino and Brother were familiar with, Artemis, along with the tiny form of Squeagle. Artemis did not recognize Brother or Kino, but they were able to convince him to not allow Squeagle to be left alone with their group, as well as to be kinder to Henri, an apprentice of his that he had not yet met. He disappeared back through his portal, resulting in some retcons within Group A. After comparing Erastus to Abel and teasing him about possible feelings for Sio, Brother took Sio quietly over to the corner of the room that had the gem. He allowed her to use her pact item on a special item that he had brought with him. This resulted in a wave of magic going through the room and the gem successfully compelling Sio to attempt to make a wish on it. Multiple people were able to grapple her away from the gem and out of its range of influence. After this, the group decided to take a vote on how to use the wish: go home or go to Torvag, where the key to defeating Astrak once and for all lied. While making this decision, Peregrine revealed that the world outside the tomb was not how it had been left, and that through his actions a cult had taken hold of most of the major cities in Faerun, resulting in the deaths of thousands of people. Sio and Kino were very upset with Peregrine, and he decided that the way to atone for his sins was to pay with his life. He ran for the throne, successfully managing to get the scepter, but was convinced not to put on the crown and attempt to be disintegrated. They decided he would start atoning for his sins by being the one to make the wish. As this happened, everyone attempted to pump as much radiant energy into the gem to negate its effect. It didn't work, and Peregrine lost all his magic items, but they were successfully teleported to Torvag, and their books began to glow. And that's where the session starts.
All right, thank you.
Bravo.
Thanks, Amanda.
Sorry,
All
I
right.
know I droned.
No,
It was
it's
good.
good. Yep.
Just for what all happened.
Yeah, that's pretty
All
much it.
Yep, got all topics.
So-
I believe that we are starting off by assuming that that we have in fact taken a long rest to level up, because I believe everybody has leveled.
Has everyone leveled?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
In that case, well, that's fine. That wasn't my intention, but that's okay. That's actually okay. So let's do it that way. If that happens, that means that one of the benefits of the wish spell is that you were actually able to use your books while you're inside of it, because you won't be able to use them right when you get in. So we can go ahead and do that. So you guys would literally have used the wish spell, gone inside the books for 8 hours, done all of your all of your upkeep to learn new things, and then you would literally arrive. And can everyone go to Twitch for me? And let's see how far behind this is.
I'm here.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
So, as everyone is doing their respective business in their books, am I able to do what my patron specifically asked me last time I spoke to them?
No, but you are going to get ripped in. That's a really good point. I was about to mention this. So what's going to end up happening is, as they do this because of the wish spell, basically what ends up happening is you get ripped in. Your patron rips you in anyway. So you're going
Okay,
to do
cool.
you're going to do your own thing with that.
Okay, cool.
The
I
stuff
needed
that
to
you
chat with
know
him.
about. Yeah. However, and that's the only time that we'll do this. It is much too difficult to retcon that, actually, and it's fine in general. It just works out for me. It's convenient that you guys are leveling now. But so anyway, can everyone actually see my mouse though? That's the important thing on Twitch. Okay. All right. So we see Tovag here, right? And then we see the river Tamros. And then Torgarok underneath that. It's going to be like 5 seconds behind, but when it catches up, I want you to see where my mouse is moving. Let me know when you can see it.
Yep.
Right over the word Tovag. Got you.
Yeah, that's still behind then. That's still behind. That's fine. Yeah, this is fun. I might actually, what I might do is here, let me see if I can put this on Discord for you guys real quick so we don't take, this isn't as painful. Hold on.
Now I see
Let's
you're
see.
kind of circling the river north.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's what it is. But that is pretty far behind. It's like a good 10 seconds. Let me get on here and let's see if we can get this at the very least. Wow, it does not bring it up. Hold on. Maybe because it's full screen. Let's see. Let's see if we can get this in Discord. Yes. Okay. All right. When it's full screen, I can't put it on. But do you guys now see this in Discord, right? So go ahead and get into Discord, and you can do that too, Tyler, the other Tyler, and you'll be able to see this in real time. So let me know when you can see all the stuff in real time here.
Tyler, can we actually call you Cochrane for
Yeah.
ease?
Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right, that's cool. Yeah, that's easy.
What chat is this going in?
So the video I think is in. How do you guys see it? I'm streaming it, so it doesn't show me.
I see it as live, like next to your name icon, it says live, and if you hover over it, it should let you.
Oh,
Yeah. Watching
All
stream.
right.
okay, I gotcha.
All right. So right now I'm over River Tamaros, then I went to Tovag, then I went to Torkarok. That's all live, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So you guys get transported. You guys get transported here. This road. So first off, immediately when you get in, you smell a very, very distinct smell of acrid, acidic, sulfury, like iron. You're also on a dry road next to a river, but the river also has that really, really strong smell of iron that coagulates on through it. And then as you start looking closer, which you can see from the road, the river is actually tainted red. It's actually a dark, almost blackish red. Um, uh, so it's either blood or blood-like liquid that's running through this river on top of it. You also can see a forest to the west over here. This forest is also pretty dark. The whole sky is twilight. And the thing that's interesting with the forest is that as you start looking out into the trees, you notice that there are a bunch of different glowing, small, tiny orb-like things. They're yellow and red, and they blink in and out throughout this forest. You also, from where you're at, do see a rather large city that's actually a little southeast to you as well. That city looks like it's been fortified, completely surrounding it with like these like stone walls. So it looks like it's almost like a fortified, almost defensible city, almost like a war fort or something, but it is made out of stone. This actually looks better defended. This city looks better defended than Waterdeep and Neverwinter from both people that have been there. Certainly better than Luskan. So it's almost like it's set up for like war. It's got this very, very, very like tall stone wall surrounding it. On top of that, everything else, besides everything else that's going on, off into the distance here in the west, you notice that there are this giant, giant mountain range, and the tops of the mountains are literally glowing a deep, like harsh red. It doesn't look like they're volcanoes. It almost looks like the mountains themselves are literally on fire, going all the way around this area. And then, of course, everything else is um, obscured. As they blink into existence coming out of their books, by the way, Tyler, if you could describe your character as well, because you're startled by this. You were actually coming through the forest here and saw all of them. The reason why you came over, Tyler, is because you saw the books.
All right. So, sort of standing a little ways behind you, almost half knelt behind a stump of a fallen tree, is a cloaked man with a dusty gray hooded cloak of shaggy, matted gray wool that extends down over his shoulders and fastened over the chest with two ragged coattails drifting behind him. A billowing hood is pulled over his head, with a dreary set of robes and a dark pair of boots to match. He slowly stands, and you can see he's about 5.5 feet tall. and he lowers the hood, and you can see a thin, grayish, scruffy face with a large pair of sunset red blacksmith goggles almost, covering the eyes. He lifts them up over a mop of hair and sort of scratches his forehead, and you can see dark circles under a pair of blood orange eyes. You see, he stands up a little bit straighter, and after he sees how many you are, and on one side of the dusty, woolly mantle is an intricate pattern of muted grays and beiges and oranges, and in the corners are two large bullseye patterns, like false eye spots on a moth. His unrefined features look almost human, but boast a certain pallor that would indicate almost an ashy jaundice.
Now everyone is with you, but Miracle. And because of that, because you were able to get out of your books and go through this, Sio and Pandemonium and Gretna, you can all make an Arcana check to try to figure out what happened with the wish.
Not everyone, Chris.
Arasis?
Oh, Arasis too. I'm sorry, of course, Arasis as well. Yep.
I exist.
Not
Chris.
Kino, right?
No. Kino is no longer there. Kino's
Okay.
not with any of you as you get out of the books. Yeah, sorry, Arasis.
Make Tyler play two people.
Oh, don't do that.
Rolling good from the beginning again.
I was about to say I got a fat 3.
Yay, pandemonium.
I feel like honor
Hey.
right about now. Holy shit. Pan got an 18.
Okay.
Major
Anyone get higher
technically
than an 18?
Still. There you go.
Oh, Erastus hasn't switched yet. Hang on.
So
Is it
Erastus is there because I didn't quite understand.
Yeah,
that, yes?
that's what I
Okay.
that's why I was also confused. That's why I didn't mention Erastus, but I guess he is there. So
Okay.
I was gonna bring you in
22.
later, Erastus, when you got back. So to go through this,
22.
but that's fine. Yeah, if you're gonna play, that's fine. He's here. Yeah.
Erastus
Okay,
got
good.
a
Yeah.
22.
All right. Okay. All right. So so as everyone starts to get out of their books, first and foremost, Tyler, this is the very first time that you've seen any of these races. Number one. Number two, the only one that has an inkling of what might have happened is Erastus. And Erastus, the best guess that you have is that there was some kind of teleportation mishap, just like when teleport works. You have no idea why a wish wouldn't have necessarily like gone through. I mean, wish is one of the most powerful magics that can exist in Faerun. You would definitely know that. You weren't even aware that this kind of teleportation could mishap, but apparently it has. So
Yeah.
it might have something to do with the domains of dread in general. So that's your only guess.
Maybe it was like an inverted luck stone or wish stone. You wish for something and it kind of gives you like the monkey's paw version of it.
So outside of Miracle is completely gone. Outside of that, actually, go ahead. I'll let you introduce your character first, and then we'll go. Tyler.
Well, you're a conspicuous bunch. What are you all?
I draw and knock my crossbow and point it at this thing.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Sio's gonna hold Eldritch Blast in her hand. She's not gonna hold it towards him, but she's just her back is to him. She's gonna turn her head towards him, and she's just gonna hold Eldritch Blast.
Telepathically, your Pseudo Dragon starts to communicate to you and tell you that it hates the area that it's in. Sio, as in heads up.
Also, Chris, would this be the time that I get the Kino message?
Yes. I mean, this is around the time that you're going to get Kino's message, and you can try to reply. Yeah,
Okay, I'll give it to you later.
that's fine. Also, because of that, you have to make a con saving throw as well.
Ooh, sorry about that. Well, I'm gonna raise both my hands up in just kind of shocking. You see, he's just wide-eyed.
What'd you get for your save, Arasis?
27.
You saved or something? Okay, so the only thing that happens is you have a blinding headache, but you don't have to take any damage or exhaustion.
And Tyler, can you let me know what Kino asked me?
I just asked if you got to Tovag all right. If everyone's there,
All right.
please.
I'll message you a reply.
Good. Um,
Well, just message it to me because it's not going to get to Kino. But
Oh,
message,
okay.
yeah, message it to me. Yeah.
It's,
yeah,
okay.
just message Vecna, which you're directly speaking to him.
Yeah.
He's gonna intercept it.
All right. So so the only other notable thing that's happened is that every now and then, only in a couple of seconds this happened, the weather goes from 70 degrees to 30 degrees, back up to 70 degrees. This has now happened a couple times in a matter of seconds. It's a very jarring, awful, kind of sickening feeling. If you can imagine the realities of that, it's almost like a shock every time the heat goes away. Like a heartbeat shock almost, like between beating hearts, the heat just goes away and then comes back.
In that same rhythm?
It's not exactly in a heartbeat, but it's like that. It's like these. It's an irregular pattern of just like it like hits you and then it's over.
Okay.
You're not from around here, are you?
No.
If you want, we can talk. I swear, I'm not going to harm you.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna hurt us.
Now, from a meta perspective, since you don't know this, Tyler, but your character is going to know this, I'm going to feed this to you. First and foremost, you cannot get into the city currently because there's basically you're just too much of an eyesore. You have to be human to get in that city, or they're going to kill everyone. Or at least like basically, if they don't kill them, they're going to at least try to like subdue everyone or whatever. So there's that. Also, if you get seen out on the road and you're pretty far, like you're right here, if you get seen by the guards, or even worse, one of the commanding patrols or platoons, or even the insurgent army that's going to be coming into and past the burning peaks, then they're just going to overrun you. So this is kind of a precarious situation. Your character would be the only one that knows this, obviously, Tyler. But and right now, there's no way to get into the city. Everyone's going to have to look human to get into the city.
So, like
But
I
I
said,
am human.
Yep, you're good, Macmorn. Yeah,
You're the
it's just the turtle and the
the tiefling.
pandemonium and like that's going to be a little tough. So yeah.
I'm a
Only the turtle, the triton, the tiefling, the
Exactly.
dark elf, not dark elf.
All the T's.
Yeah,
All
which
the
you have
Ts.
never seen any of these. You've never ever seen any of these, Tyler. You have no idea. Matter of fact, you would be convinced
Aladdin.
that, for instance, Co is a demon for sure. So
Well, I'm a giant turtle in armor. What do you think I am?
exactly. That's my point.
Just
Exactly.
cosplaying,
Yeah.
it's fine.
I'm just a little kid.
Cowabunga.
You're just my servants.
Yeah, that'll go great.
Your best guess is these are intelligent monsters, which you've seen before many times. So
We're pocket monsters.
Okay, I understand now.
I choose you. CO.
RXD.
Oh God, right in the feels. Ooh woo. Okay, anyways, let's get back on track.
I'm just going to take a step closer and just look at you all. You
Is
are
it
a very conspicuous bunch. I've never, like, what? What are
Pan?
they?
Pan does a pose and is like, "Thank you."
He does a little, like, weird curtsy.
Demi
Um,
squawks.
Pan does a curtsy
Eh.
back, like a perfect curtsy. There's court manners shining through. What does Bimmy do?
Apparently he squawks.
Jimmy squawks and yells at the sky,
So,
flapping his
gosh,
wings like an angry chicken.
I have so many questions. Where are you from? How did you find this? Are you from the outside?
We are. How we got here is kind of a long story.
Oh, I want to hear every bit of it. Oh my gosh. Like, what are you all doing here? Did you get sent here? Are you banished here? What's it?
Why don't you tell us about you first?
Absolutely. What would you like to know about me?
Who are you? Where are you from? And why are you here now?
I am Umbra. I am a prisoner in this world, I guess you could say. This awful place. I'm not sure why you would want to be here, but welcome. You are now in the shit with me. I was born here. This is really the only world I've ever gotten to know, so yeah.
What's your home called?
Why are you... What?
What's your home called?
Tovag?
And how long have you been here to your knowledge?
My whole life.
Which is how long?
Why do you want to know? What's a whole life for you?
You seem awful curious of us.
Well, I apologize. I didn't realize that was such a threat.
Why are you alone?
Because it's easy to hide when you're alone. Big parties kind of stick out, as you perfectly demonstrate.
Yeah.
That's not this. You seem all quite capable, which is why I'm all the more scared. But I can help you if you decide not to kill me.
I insight check him because he's a
Yeah, of course.
curious one.
Of course. Yeah.
19.
Yep. Go ahead and oppose.
I seem like I'm telling the truth. Yeah.
Like he's just curious about us. He doesn't mean us any harm.
Yep. I mean, you know harm, and I could have information that could help you.
Well, Umbra, it is pleasant to meet you. I am called Pandemonium, but you may call me Pan.
Wonderful to meet you.
I am Big Boss Erasmus.
Wonderful to meet you, Big Boss Erasmus.
The big boss is optional.
Okay.
It is not.
It is optional.
It is not.
It is optional.
You. Can we send her back?
Can I go back? I just like I start walking in the direction of back just because he wants to send me back. Okay, time to go back.
This is Pandemonium. We found her in a fish tank eating flakes.
I was eating nothing actually. I almost starved to death, and then I almost got killed.
Exactly. So it's Big Boss.
I wasn't almost killed by you. If Gretna wants to be called Big Boss, I can call her Big Boss.
And the shortest one in the group goes, no, that's okay.
Gretna, you want to be called Big Boss?
No, her name is the Hammer.
I don't.
The Hammer.
No, it's not.
Shh, it's okay, Hammer.
Is nobody else going to introduce themselves?
I'm not sure yet. What kind of help can you offer?
You notice that Umbra is getting incredibly nervous. Umbra, also on top of this, you now know that you could be within 30 minutes of your death at this point. You're gonna have to get off the road and go somewhere.
Let's
Oh,
move.
guys, look what Erasmus is gonna pull out the bird and let it start singing, and he's gonna be like, "I finally got one over on those guys," because Kino left behind the bird.
Yep.
Theo won't say anything, but she'll just go over to Erasmus and put a hand on his shoulder and kind of just guide him to wherever Umbra is suggesting to lead them.
Where are we going?
He will
Um,
waddle and keep tinkering with a bird like a kid walking through Walmart with a Game Boy.
So Umbra, as you go through and start navigating this forest, you are going to know that the forest is a literal death trap. There are things that could rip entire people to shreds in a matter of seconds. So instead, you actually have your own system where you have to cross the river Tamros, which is disgusting, and you'll probably want to warn them. It's literally the same viscous material as blood, although the bottoms of the river have actually scabbed over and coagulated. So what ends up happening is as you traverse it, it's waist high or so, and you get all of it all over you. It tastes like blood. It looks like blood. Whether it actually is blood, I mean, you just assume it is. And then, like I said, it does actually coagulate and scab on the bottoms of the things as well. And then, once you get this stuff all over you, you have found that for whatever reason, that seems to work with whatever path that you've gone through. So if you look at look at Discord actually, you have a very small dwelling over in this section here. It's basically a makeshift fort slash treehouse. This is where you've kept yourself safe for literally years, and you can stay here for up to a month, and then you need to go back into Torgarak to get supplies. So you have enough supplies for yourself to last a month. If they don't have any supplies, you're gonna run out of everything in maybe 6 days or so, maybe less. Um, but you're on the very edges. Now, on the edge of this domain, there is a very hot and very fine silvery metallic mist. Umbra, the other thing that you would also warn them about is even if your arm brushes by this mist, for whatever reason, it will literally sear off whole metal. You can lose your arm, you can lose hand. It's very dangerous to go through that. As a matter of fact, you can actually see the edges of the realms eroded, even trees like half cut out from this literal. It's almost like a burning metallic, mercurial, silvery, nitrate, awful, whatever it is, but it tends to actually stay away as well. So it's not like you can just accidentally bump into it. You'll know while you're going through it. However, you have to go through and traverse that entire edge, because if you don't, even with all the stuff that you're going to put on yourself through the river, it is possible you'll still get attacked. So that's why you stay close to the edge. You have to tell everyone that. As you go traversing, just to get to his place, everyone has to make, unless you're somehow getting helped by someone else, you are going to have to make a single dex save to get to his house to see if you get there unscathed. It's that perilous because you're on the edge, and he's actually. What you also notice is Umber has actually made a path for himself that's very narrow, and you can see that it's been completely worn and walked hundreds of times. But he is so terrified of even going a foot over it on edge that he would literally get grabbed through the forest and ripped apart, that he makes every effort to tell everyone that you really do need to follow in his exact footsteps. You can hear creatures surrounding you. You can hear screams of creatures killing other creatures. You can hear all kinds of like torture playing out. You even think that you hear human screams throughout this forest as well. It is pretty unnerving as you start traveling. But let's go through the river first. So as you guys start to get into this river, um, Umbra, you'll go in first. First, everyone make the decision if they're going to like walk through this disgusting river or not.
How far across is it?
It's like 40 feet. It's pretty big river in that respect. It's enough that it's like unsettling. Now it only goes waist deep, and the current is strong, but it's not strong enough to like uplift you unless you're not really paying attention.
I float.
Yep.
I'm just
I
gonna
don't know if that
continue
helps.
across. I'm just well.
Okay.
Max,
You
Sure.
notice that
yeah.
as Umbra does continue across, he is literally drenched in this blood-like material, and I mean it's pretty obvious. It's also slightly viscous. It's even a tad more viscous than normal blood.
Pen will follow.
Okay. All right, Pen. Yeah, it smells worse when you get inside the river. It does smell like dead coagulated blood. It smells pretty awful, as if it's been sitting there for a long time.
I'm gonna try to pressure seal my suit and hold my breath at the same time.
Yep.
Is it okay? Pan, is it okay?
I'm not dying.
This is also
Not
going
dead
just
yet. Okay.
just so you guys know, without any magical means to clean yourself, this will literally stain anything as well. It will not stain metallic armor, but it's going to stain leather and it's going to stain any kind of clothing. It's going to be
We have a
permanently this blood clothing. Yeah.
we
Unless
have
you
a
have something
pretty
to clean
low
it.
bar. Fine. We have a pretty low bar for fine if it's the only consideration is dead or not dead.
Pan, you'd probably look back, and after watching everyone else cross, you look back at Umbra, and he is completely clean.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would.
I followed.
I would attempt to clean myself with prestidigitation as well.
Yep, it does work. Yeah, you're able to do that. Yeah.
And I imagine it just doesn't stick to me.
Yeah, your armor's sealed enough. You are going to have to wipe it down, but yes, it's not going to stain you. That is correct.
Okay, I'll try and crest too.
Okay.
I'll wait till like other people. I want to be in the back a little
Now
bit.
Gretna has it the hardest because Gretna, it's actually over your nose.
Oh
So
God.
yeah, it's bad. So that's
Oh,
the thing to keep in mind. So Gretna's going to need some
Mac-
help unless she wants to
Macmorn will
swim through it.
offer to carry her.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I have a quick
I
question.
climb up Mac Morton.
Yeah.
So, as we all appeared, did we find any of Miracle's belongings?
No, not yet. She is
Okay.
completely and utterly vanished.
Theo.
However,
is-
Erastus, I don't think Erastus told anyone, but Erastus, you have a kind of idea what might have happened to her, but I don't think you've mentioned that yet.
If Theo asks Erastus, he'll tell him what he theorizes. But until he's got a good, solid set of facts to back up that theory, he's not going to like actively verbalize it.
Yep.
But if someone asks, he'll say what he thinks.
Theo will definitely ask him later, but he is going to put on her ring. Well, she's been wearing the Ring of Water Walking since we found out what the hell they were.
Yep.
She's gonna test
Which
the
will work
foot.
here. Yep, it does work.
That's
Yep.
why I carried Gretna. I have one too.
Yeah,
Oh,
because Max
so,
got it. Yeah, because we had 3, but Miracle had the 3rd. Because I was gonna give one to Gretna, but since Max took Key on his shoulders, we good.
I would have had to attune to it, so it would have taken a while.
Yep.
Oh, that's true too. I forget it's.
Did Miracle have a pseudo dragon?
No, I did. Henry was
Yeah,
good.
no.
Miracle only
Miracle
had
does
the
not.
owl familiar.
Yeah.
But that was a spell, so it wouldn't have stuck around anyways.
Yep.
Theo will just make her way over with Macmorn and Gretna walking on water.
Thanks, Mac.
Can't wait
You're
to tell
welcome.
Kino about this.
Now, Umbra's going to make a nonchalant side comment. What you guys did was actually illegal. Everyone else in Torgarok, all the citizens, whatever, you go in this river, you're put to death. So what you've done is an illegal thing within this. But Umbra, you would have shared that. So
So we're all in the same boat. So
Yeah.
welcome.
We're all criminals, woo!
We're criminals together. So now you have to listen to me, or we all just go to jail.
but
Also,
Umbra
the
does
ma-
explain to you that this is a necessary part of staying safe. So
also the magic I just saw you do. That's also highly legal.
What is
Yeah.
legal?
Yeah.
Is it more or
being-
less illegal than crossing the river?
I would
Is it
say
morally
maybe.
legal?
Well, you know what is legal? It's being cattle. It's being cattle just to get to age to the point where you can join the army. That is what's legal here. No writing implements, no magic, no books, no paper, no quills, no ink. You sit
God.
in the house. You are enslaved, and then you fight.
Well, that sounds terrible.
God. Erastus is gonna lean over to Pandemonium and kind of under his breath whisper, "This guy makes brother look like a barrel of laughs."
I imagine that being stuck in this place for any amount of time, it doesn't result in a very happy person, especially somebody who's been here their whole life.
as you guys are walking through, like I said,
Tell him a
not
joke.
only do you hear all those sounds, but occasionally, Erastus and Piraven, you both hear women screaming for help. Umbra, you hear it as well, and you push them aside. You're like, don't fall for that. That's
It's
not
trap.
what you think it is.
It's obviously a trap.
What
Does
was
that
that?
happen all the time?
Yes. Well, sometimes they're women, sometimes they're children, sometimes they call your name. Those are rare, though. Don't listen to them.
What are
Never listen to them. Creatures, vile things. If you find out, then it's already too late. If you see one, if you have to face one, forget it. You're dead.
they? Can you
So
not
this
say
is
it's
just
me?
like
Look, I surely some of you practice magic. You know the power a name has.
Of course I don't practice magic. It's illegal.
Yes, yes. And he just pats the side of his nose. Of course.
So you guys eventually do come up to his makeshift fort. So what's very, very interesting to you, Gretna,
Yeah.
is some of the pieces of his fort that are gone through the doorway and the outer, like he's actually propped up this one log to also prop up the house as well. You have a double take. You're sure you're not right. You start feeling it, looking at it immediately. Feels like stone. You are unbelievably shocked. This is absolutely some kind of Heartstone wood, and it's not only incredibly rare, but some of the hardest wood in all of Faerun. Incredibly valuable. This would be worth more than 50,000 gold pieces. The single log. You've actually never seen it before, so you're not 100% sure that this is what it is, but it very much fits the bill.
and Chris, do I still have the freaking mace attached to my hand?
Not anymore. Once the wish spell went off, the mace is actually gone. It cannot
Oh,
leave the
thank
Tomb of
God.
Horrors. Yeah, it can't leave the tomb. Yeah.
So, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to take out Replier, and
Yep.
I want to ask him what he thinks, if he's ever been to here, heard of here, or what he thinks about this place.
So so once you take out Replier, by the way, you realize that Replier does not answer and grows dim and dark. The blade itself literally grows a darker color. There is a soft whispered answer that comes back and basically says that you get, like, you don't actually get the entire thought because it's telepathic, but something here is suppressing the ability for Replier to function properly. However, you hear the very briefest thing of something about home.
About what?
Home.
Home.
Home. Home. Yep.
Oh, I think Replier told me this is where he lives.
What was that sword? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
I found it in a box in a different dimension.
Okay, well, can you tell me something useful? No offense.
That's about all I know. There was another nice lady who was sometimes kind of a B word, but I'm not supposed to say that word.
Lady?
She had one too.
So everyone that made their dexterity, go ahead and make their dexterity check if you didn't. Let's see how burned we got going
Is
through
it
this
check or
forest.
save? You said save.
Save.
Yes?
It's a
Yeah,
save.
okay.
I'm sorry. It's a save. Yeah.
Guidance wouldn't be of assistance, would it?
Oh, I cast resistance on CO.
Actually, I'm gonna allow even the guidance. Yeah, I'm gonna allow guidance actually on this.
Theo will go last, and she'll give everyone guidance as
Okay.
they traverse.
Yeah, I'll allow guidance.
Even if you didn't allow guidance, I could just use resistance, which actually does work for saves.
Theo will, before everyone starts moving, insist that Pirvin and Umbra go first. Pirvin,
Can like these things stack? Could I put bless on people too?
Does bless work on saves?
Yes.
Attack
Then
rolls and
it
saving
can.
throws.
Yeah, then it can. Yep.
Okay, I can only use it on 3 people.
Yeah, so technically, see, this is where things get a little murky because this is a second edition thing. Technically, in fifth edition, this wouldn't be a save, but what we're saying here is that the mist is going to eventually touch all of you as you walk through this, which is why it's a save in this case. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
I got a 20, which would end up being
Okay, all right.
hold on.
And
I
I'm
cast-
already walking.
I cast bless on oh god, who are the undexy ones besides me? Because I would have cast bless on myself and
Me, but I already went ahead of you, and you saw me cast resistance on myself.
okay.
Um,
Then I guess Mac and Pan
Nope.
and
I already made my
who
save.
else? Oh.
Yeah, we
Oh.
went ahead of you.
Oh, can I just forget bless then? Everybody else is ahead of me.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
It was a nice thought, though.
Forget
That's
bless.
fine. Yep.
Yeah, I start doing it and everybody's gone. I'm like, oh well.
I was about to say it doesn't really matter, but everyone got a +3 to their roll.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, what was the lowest roll with all of that?
I got
Um,
24.
Okay. You're fine. Yep.
23.
Mhm.
I guess that's the
22.
lowest.
23. Okay. So you guys are fine getting through this for now. Yeah.
21.
Come at us, world.
Yeah.
All right. So I
So-
see where did I see the Hearthstone?
So he's made it. He's fashioned these 2 planks to keep his doorway up, and that's where that's where the Hearthstone is. There's also a Hearthstone in the back that's literally like a stump that he has put in because it was the hardest piece that he could find. It's also incredibly heavy, and it's just like sitting there out in the open. Like you look
I-
at this and you're like, holy crap! Like you can't believe it.
Yeah, I'd like
It's
to
a
make a history
purplish wood,
check
by
on
the way.
that.
Yeah, you can. It's a
Thanks.
purplish. The reason why you're able to know for sure that you think this is right is
Okay,
because
so
it is
it's
a
a 19?
purplish. So this brand of whatever it is actually not from Faerun. But it is Hearthstone. But you're sure it's not from Faerun because it's a new breed that you've never seen before. You unfortunately because it's not from Faerun, you just have no freaking idea after that. But this is identical to Faerunian Hearthstone. It has the same properties, same everything, but the grain has a distinct variation which cannot exist. You would know that for sure. So
Guys, what if we took this stuff and we mixed it with that really, really hard rock I found earlier, and we made the ultimate shield?
This would be
Yeah.
I could
worth
use
a lot of
You're-
money back home.
You're not as excited about this as I thought you'd be.
sure, make me a shield.
Umbro, can I have your door?
Bruh. No, you may not.
Is there any more of this stuff around that we
You
could
have a
actually
back
touch?
door?
not so Umbra, you would know that safely. No, you saw this laying around. You're not going in the woods to find it. You don't know for sure, so it's presumable yes. But you've never ever seen it lying around like this, like it's been chopped up already. By the way, you weren't actually able to cut any of this anyway. However, your guess is that it's probably all throughout the forest, somewhere deep in within the forest. It's just you're not never going in there to find out.
Well, look, I live here, so obviously I don't want you, taking my back door or my front door or anything.
So you do have
But
a back door.
We won't steal anything
don't.
from you.
I have-
won't
I
let
have-
'em.
I have a front door. I'm lucky to have one door. But why don't
Oh my
we all
god.
go in-
Also, I'm so sorry. You said you did not cast Bless, right? You went to go cast Bless, but did not cast
Yeah,
Bless.
yeah, but everybody was
Super
gone.
cool. Okay, cool. All right. I just wanted to make sure. That is a huge thing.
Everybody
here,
was
so,
ahead of me.
All right. Yep. Cool. All right.
Might act as a beacon.
I'll make you a deal. What did you say your name was? I look at Gretna.
Gretna.
If you can help me get out of here, you can have my whole house. If you can promise me that if we are to get out of here and you are to return from whence you came, because it sounds like you came here on your own volition for whatever reason. I mean, not the move I would have done, but if you wish to return, then by all means, it's yours.
Now, even from out here, you guys hear
Ew.
these blaring horns, and the fanfare start, and you see a procession of thousands of soldiers marching from Torgarok and the fortress of Kaz, all the way leading to here. Umbra, you know this happens at least once a month. It's early for you that this is happening, but thousands of soldiers on each side start coming and ready. There are actually so many soldiers that you actually can feel very slightly the ground quake from their walking, even as far as away as you are. They're all in full plate mail. They do have, and you can the way that he's built his house. He actually has it set up so that he has a really good vantage point down, but it's going to be harder for them to see up. So you guys can see some of this going through as well. And there are these brilliant like banners that they're all like holding. However, for whatever reason, from where you're standing, you can't actually see the symbol or even what color it is. It all looks like a blacky grayish mass from where you're at. However, there are now maybe 5,000 on each side soldiers at least running through, and they're basically coming in from these directions to meet in the middle here, and then you start to see them go all the way down to the Burning Peaks here.
Oh, there they go.
If you had been out on the road, you wouldn't, even at your level with that many soldiers, you probably would have bit it. So you think to yourselves.
That's why I wanted to get off the road.
Thank you for saving our lives.
You can return the favor now.
How many people live here? Why did we this?
Chris, would I know how the rough population?
You think, yeah, your guess is that maybe 50,000 people live here, but unfortunately so many people die all the time monthly that it's really hard. Maybe it's 100,000. But you say you would explain that it's really hard to guess because in Torgarok it's only the women and children, and you actually don't know where most of the men are most of the time since you were never conscripted into the army, given your situation. However, you really don't know. You know, there's at least maybe 10,000 people within Torgarok, but you're making wild guesses. You just don't know. You know there's a massive amount of people in the army. Now, the interesting thing for you guys have never seen an army like this in one sense. As it starts walking, as these people are marching, and you're everyone that's seen the army of Cormyr, Neverwinter, or even actually the Waterdeep, like military patrol, all of them are very structured, highly concentrated forces of people. These soldiers are not only clumsy, but every now and then you'll actually hear someone like holler out a sign of like semi excitement, or even like you even hear like some of them in the back like literally joking with one another. It's very, very uncharacteristic for you seeing an army of this size, especially this well equipped, to see anything like that. It's almost like there's a level of maturity there that you're just not used to seeing.
Yeah, pretty jovial soldiers.
Umber just looks distraught. He's just like, yep.
People do laugh here.
Mm-hmm.
Helps them get through the situation, I suppose.
Yep, as they're paraded to their deaths. Over and over again.
What do you mean?
I mean, they do this like once a month. This one's actually a bit early. And every time they go and...
It's like a festival?
Not really. Festivals.
It is kind of like, I mean, so in meta terms, you actually know that these monthly parades are the coming of age warrior, like the coming of age soldier ceremonies.
Look at that. This is what happens when you turn 18. This is your birthday.
Oh shit,
This is your gift. I mean, in a way,
You
yes.
do this when you turn 8? Oh, fuck.
Does that mean you were younger than 18?
Yes.
Also, yes.
Yes.
Are they marched to their death? Like none of them live?
Right. None of I don't see any ever come back. Right.
That's right. You don't. Well, every now and then you actually have heard stories of some of the men coming back, and there's definitely generals who are much older. The generals in there. Well, I won't spoil it, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, so there
Yeah.
are generals that are older, and they do come back into the town occasionally, and sometimes soldiers do come back to meet their wives. Um, but for the most part, you don't see the same people coming back.
So yes, I rarely ever see anyone come back.
They go then. Looks like they're going to that Citadel place.
You do notice that what they're doing is they're coming down this road in the middle here. And Umbra, you would tell them that this is the only road past the Burning Peaks and the only way to live with, like, the only way to basically set foot inside the Ashen Waste once you get off the road. You can explain to them that you literally wither away and die. You've never seen it yourself. You don't know what happens after that. You just know that the minute you hit the sand, you might as well be dead.
Yeah, I've gotten that far before, but and he just points to a metal-looking mountain range where the tops of the mountains are on fire and
Yeah.
really terrible, like oppressive-looking mountain range, and he goes, "Yeah, maybe never get beyond those mountains. That is death on the other side."
Sounds ominous.
This whole place is ominous, my friend. And you,
Well,
It smells like the south side of a northbound turtle.
so why are you all here? Because I don't think I got that answer before.
Why do you care?
I mean, do you want my help?
You seem
Because
to have no other option, friend. If you
I
want
mean,
out, you can come with us. It seemed like it would be mutually beneficial to either one of us to halt the other's progress.
look, I've got nothing to gain by stopping you. The only thing I have is more of this shit. And you think I want this? You think I want to live in this twisted world? I don't. I'd rather die by my own hand than to venture forward and die fighting for some army.
Do they know about you at all? Or are you just always hidden?
I try and keep my head down.
Hmm.
you hear Privrian kind of whisper under his breath, "Coward."
So at this point, at this point, Seo, your the Emerald Pseudo Dragon, he crawls up into you, and he very like he actually like is like very sad, and he telepathically asks you, why are all the kids going out to die?
Theo will just kind of cradle him like a fat cat. She'll just like stroke his little head. And she'll just look at him and telepathically tell him that she's not too sure. But
She said, but you don't understand. They're small children.
What is that? Oh my gosh. Can
Well,
I
you
see
wouldn't
it?
be, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You can see it. You just can't hear any of it. But yes, you're absolutely right. If you're just commenting on its looks, absolutely. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just the emerald dragon head
Yeah,
poking
yeah,
out of the backpack.
Yep. But
Yeah.
it very softly goes to you, see, and it says, no, they're children.
Theo will go back to the window and try and look more closely.
They're definitely not children. They're at least 18. They're fully grown men.
Bill, Kiriji, what are you talking about?
She so he, sorry, so the pseudo dragon like asks if it can fly a little bit. It wants to just see just a little bit,
Outside?
but it's asking you, Seo, because it doesn't know if it's safe.
I don't think it's safe, Kiriji, but
So
let's ask Umbra. And
yeah, so it says that it can see all of its magic. It says that there's something wrong. It explains to you that the soldiers are not exactly what they look like. They are children, and
I'm
it can
gonna
see it. The Emerald Dragon can see it.
Oh, how old, Kiri?
It explains that they're 9.
Kiri, you see through Umbra? Is it magic?
It can't see through Umbra. It does not think that Umbra is affected by this, by the way, at all. It does. It does. So he can actually see that Umbra does have magic in him for sure, but it's not the same kind, and he can't see through this. But
Okay, so
he is not affected. He is absolutely not affected by this. But he is sure that those are 9-year-olds, not 18-year-olds.
Umbra. You said magic here isn't legal, right?
Not for the denizens of the city, but
Why
for
are
those that rule.
9-year-olds Why are 9-year-olds marching under the facade of 18-year-olds?
Because it's easier to get 9-year-olds than 18-year-olds. You only had to wait 9 years. So why not magically enhance it? Speed it up.
Is that counterintuitive then to the whole rule?
I don't think you understand how the rules work here.
Don't.
They make the rules. And I point towards the fortress.
Yeah.
So,
Why do they want them dead? What are they marching to?
they're fighting. They're going to the Ashen Wastes.
What are they fighting?
You would know they're fighting Vecna.
They're fighting Vecna.
9-year-olds fighting Vecna? What's the point?
Exactly. They march and they die.
Yep.
Over
Why?
and over again. Because there's hordes of undead, there's Vecna, they're trying to topple the Citadel and they're failing to do so. So, that's why.
I'm confused why they seem so excited.
Because they've never done it before. Imagine playing soldier. You don't know what death is at 9. You don't know what it's like out there. Neither do they. They run out there and they don't realize the mess that waits them. The tragedy.
By the way, Curie, once he's seen one of them, he can also kind of explain this to you. But he's going to say this to you privately. He doesn't think it's magic that's been cast. He thinks that every single person in this entire place just ages at a double rate. So people are just going to die quickly anyway. Like maybe they'll be lucky to live to 40, but never probably, mostly 30, and you're dead because you'll be 60. He explains that because now he's figured it out, and he'll quote this back to you. It's not magic that's cast. This is magic they're born with. But for whatever reason, Umbra is not affected by this.
Umbra.
Are you a fighter, Umbra?
Yes. Do I look like a fighter?
No.
Exactly. I'm
So
not.
that was trying to be kind. I don't
I
either.
appreciate
and
it.
You were
Kindness
born,
gets you.
you were born here, though. Would have figured you were born to be a fighter like the rest of them.
I was lucky that I get to live longer in this shithole. And I get to suffer longer than they do.
So
of me when I was at home. But then you leave it, and all you want to do is go back.
Yeah, I mean, I've used my time well, don't think I didn't. There's things that someone that lives 17 years can do that, someone that's only 9 can't even begin to comprehend.
Oh,
Is 17 years old?
You're
A
older than
little
me.
more, I guess. Well, yes, I'm in a little under a year I turn 18. So luckily they haven't figured it out yet, but once I turn 18, they're gonna come after me and probably realize what I am. Maybe I won't even make it to the front lines before they kill me.
Do they only
Oh,
send
man.
guys to the front line?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Very rarely. You could also tell them very rarely they will send women. Very rarely, and the women have to be, strong and built to fight. So very rarely they actually will send women. But the majority of the women and children are stuck in Torgarok.
Mm-hmm.
who's the general, Artemis?
Mostly pregnant women.
They're just breeders.
Like I said, it's cattle. It's
Mhm.
they're not even considered people. That's why I
Well-
live out here.
Hmm.
So when are we
Could I
leaving?
pass for a little girl? You think?
As soon as we can. This place sucks.
I mean, I mean, you have nicer armor. You also have completely different makes. You have whatever symbol that is.
Tyr. Hey.
Okay, I mean, I've never heard. I try not to get involved in gods.
Okay.
It'll be a cold day in hell when I put my trust in a god. No offense. I'm sure he or she's working great for you, but if you're here, then good luck. And what's so funny?
It's just something you said. It's nothing to dwell on.
Now,
Very well.
one of the pieces of information that you do have, whether this comes up or not, is fine. But I want to give it to you in case it does. There is one basically flesh-like plant that actually has a piece of fruit that looks like it's a fleshed out small doll-like body that if you consume it, it will actually polymorph you into a human for 9 days. The reason you know this thing exists is because monsters will literally take it, try to get into the city, and rip people apart. They're hard to find, they're rare, but you know these things exist and you know kind of how to look for them because you actually have been on the lookout for these things and have been destroying them if you see them, just to basically save people's lives. Um, Now they look like almost small bodies with no. So this flesh-like plant grows these things, and they look like they're like small bodies without any kind of like eyes or anything else, just skin over it. You eat them, and then for a good amount of time, sometimes it'll actually last up to like a month. You will look like a human, and then you'll go back. The process is painful. It's not. It's not actually polymorph. It's literally melding you into a human in the most painful way possible. You do have to take a little bit of damage as you eat this thing. But that's going to be the only way that any of you will ever pass for people, unless you have magic, of course, that can go through and do this. That will last long enough while you're in the city. So any like disguise kits not gonna really gonna work in this case. But like any magical means to completely transform yourself would work.
Well, there you go. So
Mm.
that
I
could
don't
be a
know
way
if
of
you
getting to the city.
convey that to them, but that's information you do have, Umbra. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll basically explain like that's the plan going forward, and if we wanted to, it's obviously
You
easier
will have to
said
go into
than
town
done.
eventually, just because otherwise you're gonna starve to death. You don't know
Of-
how much stuff they have on them, but you're assuming that if they have nothing, you will literally starve to death in 6 days if you don't get into town and get supplies. So
Yeah. So now that I've given you that much, can you please, like, if you were banished to it, like, if you're murderers or whatever, if you were sent here by accident, just tell me. I don't look. I have nothing to gain. What am I gonna do with your secrets? Who am I gonna tell?
I'll be right back.
What about you, Pandemonium?
What
Or
about me?
Big Boss?
No, big bosses are asses.
Yeah, I look at Erastus when I say Big Boss. Big Boss. What about you?
I
What about
believe
me?
he is away at the moment, so Pan may be the best person to talk to.
So, Pen, why?
Why are we here?
Yes, what possible. I mean, the only people that are sent here are people that don't know of this place and people that, you know.
Well, we weren't sent here.
You
But
came here.
yes, we chose to come here.
Why?
And Pan's gonna look to Co and is gonna look to like. It doesn't seem like anybody else is really like willing to say why. So Pan's gonna turn back and be like, uh, would it be okay to hold that information just for a bit while we try to decide what it is that we are doing next?
Umbra, if if real quick, if you do decide to go into the forest to get these things, the very first encounter that you come up with is unfortunately a death trap. You might be able to beat the first wave of these monsters, and there's all different kinds, but one fight is going to start a feeding frenzy of fights. So the only true way to get this thing is to have is the most terrifying way, to send one or two of you in and stealth to try to go through it, or use magical means like invisibility or something else to try to get these things. If you get in one fight within the forest, it's generally all over, unfortunately, because of the fact that other things will just pile on and pile on and pile on and pile on. Bigger monsters will come and eat other monsters. It's just a nightmare of awfulness. And these things are so compact, and they live in this thing, and they also, by the way, feed off the soldiers and everything else. That they're conditioned to wait until someone falls into the forest, and then it's just all out awfulness. So you would be able to convey all of this as well. The best chance is to try to stealth through and go through it. If you do try to fight, you're going to be just explain to them they're going to be fighting hundreds of creatures at least.
So who's the quietest out of all of you? I have my own means of trekking through the jungles, but you might want to send.
Harassus is stealthy.
Okay, big boss, you're up.
Yeah, you got this.
Absolutely, under no condition will Erasmus be involved.
I mean, he seems very metallic. I don't want to.
Yeah, you do look over Erasmus and you're like, you're very confused because like this is a large, wide turtle-like man in literal plate mail, and you think to yourself that he's probably going to die in like 5 minutes as he walks. Like there's just no way he could ever
Yeah.
like he'd have to be invisible. So
Is strong.
Yeah.
Stealth is not his expertise.
Invisible. Oh.
Like
Yeah.
Purivan.
Look,
Yes.
I'll go with
Maybe.
whoever volunteers. I'll go with them because I have my own natural ways of getting through. I'll aid them. Who?
Purivan. And she'll just throw her head over towards.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'll look back towards Theo and be like, well, this is a chance to prove myself and raise my shoulders and see what
Yeah.
she says about it.
Very well.
So this is how this works, guys. So let me explain. As you go into the forest, this is actually the first time we're going to be doing one of this. So as you go into the forest, it's not just stealth checks. If you actually get discovered, we're going to do an actual chase scene to get over the river. Once you're over, Umbra will explain. Once you get into the river and bathe yourself in the blood of this whatever it is, you're generally safe, at least for a little while. And then you have to stealth back and get back to where he's hidden. That's why monsters do not exist on the other. That's why he's built it right here, and why he doesn't get bothered because of this river. It's the only thing that kind of is keeping him safe. So in this whole area, although he doesn't like, Umber does not like to go into here because he's just not sure. What if monsters have gotten stranded here and they're like caught between these two things? So he doesn't love this area, but this area over here is generally safe, which is why he always, when he goes through, he goes to the edge where the silver myths are, because there is a chance that this is swarming with monsters. He just doesn't know. However, that's the whole thing. So we'll have to go through an entire chase scene. Otherwise, if you get caught, you will die. Chances are you'll die. There's a lot of monsters in the forest, he'll explain to you, and they're all vicious and awful. So you do have to be really good at this, and you have to be quiet or invisible or whatever, and try your best to find these things. So and you need several, because you need one for everybody.
Do I need one as a human?
No. Macmorn does not need one. Yeah, Macmorn doesn't need one.
Macmorn and
Anyone
me
that's a
both
human,
don't need one.
anyone that's a human can pass.
But I still am not sure if I would pass as a human.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't think to be. Umber doesn't think you would.
Okay.
Your proportions are a little off
Yeah.
enough that you would probably rouse suspicion.
Okay.
Theo.
I would.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Even
I would.
Purivan might be able to pass with a really good disguise. And elves can actually. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. An elf can use a disguise kit as long as in the mechanic with this, as long as they're always wearing hats. and as long as they've done their absolute best with the actual makeup and stuff to go through it, and there's always a chance that they'll meet someone with a high enough passive perception to see through it. So it's almost better for you, Piran, just to get one and eat it.
When we turn into humans, do we turn into the human of our years or of our maturity?
No, it's going to be it's actually, so the way that it works, it is not going to be of your years, so you're not going to be ancient. What it'll happen is that he'll explain this to you. All of you are going to be around the age of 27, 28.
Okay.
Because he's seen these things work. They're always the same age no matter what. So it's a 27, 28-year-old looking human.
Mhm.
So for some of you that will be much older, but that's what it brings in. So now one of the things that he also tells you to keep in mind about is that you need to be careful, because anytime that age group goes in, because that's kind of old. That now those people do exist, and men do exist within Torgarok as merchants and stuff that old. And some of the wealthier citizens are that old because they don't have to go in the army anymore. But that's always going to raise suspicion because that's just a little bit old to be alive.
So
So
women just have to look pregnant.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So if that's what I was about, he would explain this to you too. For a woman, the one thing that you would need to do is probably try to make yourself look pregnant. That's probably the best case scenario to not arouse suspicion. The men are already going to be in the you're a little old to be around here kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah.
You will look at wow, your character's name just literally went from my head. Umbrum?
Umbra.
Umbra. And she will just read this real fast. Just with like the snap of her fingers, she will use disguise self to look like a roughly 17-year-old girl.
Yep.
And she'll ask him if this is convincing enough.
It will be. Yeah. It's like so Umbra, you'll probably question how long she can keep it up just in case, so they can you can plan it out. However, 100% that is convincing. Any magical means of disguise self work.
I just kind of brush my hand.
You're also very impressed by this.
This is wonderful work. I try and touch her horns through the disguise.
Yeah, which you can't do. Yeah.
Wow, this is really top notch. I'll be honest, this is like some of the most advanced magic I've ever seen.
It'll be the first time you see Sio smile, because since we all got here, Sio just looks dead. She's tired. She's not talking. She's feeling a lot of things. So you see like a genuine faint little smile.
And so you guys know, one of the reasons why I not only do like second edition, but also the reason why I like these modules is because it actually makes spells meaningful. Like this is the very first time, at least when I was going through, that disguise self actually fucking meant something. I was like, okay, this is actually kind of awesome. But yeah, so.
Where did you learn to do that?
Here and there, a little bit. I studied bits and pieces of magic, somewhat from my parents otherwise, but call it a Mod Podge.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. It strikes a familiar chord with me.
Yeah, I'll teach you sometime if we can make it out of here alive.
I would love to exchange notes.
We'll just give him a brief smile, and I'll follow up with how I appreciate the forethought for planning as quickly as possible, because I don't think any one of us wants to hang around here any longer than necessary. But why exactly are you trying to get us to speed into the city?
Well, I mean, the sooner we get into the city, the sooner we can do whatever you want to do. Chris, would I know?
Honestly, I think that your main motivation, I mean, you can do whatever you want, and that is 100% correct what you said. But you would actually just be a little bit concerned because you're in always survivalist thing that we just need to get supplies like food and other things to
Yeah.
live. Like that's the real main concern. It's not even to get in. I mean, now granted, what you said is 100% true because whatever they're here for, they're only going to be able to find whatever it is within the city or the Fortress of Kaz. Fortress of Kaz is a literal walking death trap. Like you would never make it even cross the road, so you might as well go to Torgarak. But you do need supplies.
Yes, so probably whatever you're looking for is within Torgarak because you're. I mean, I wouldn't even step foot on the road to the Fortress of Kaz.
Something my bones says we're probably going to have to go to that fortress. Where
I think your bones are
looking-
wrong. I think your bones are lying to you.
my bones haven't been wrong quite yet, but we're looking for a particular word. The whole reason we're here.
You are, by the way, able to tell them the only other thing that you know about, but it's like a fabled legend, is the Citadel of Cavitus. It's where Vecna lives. It's the only other place where you have heard of magic. You have no idea if any living being actually lives there. It could just be a bunch of awful undead things that kill people on sight. But you've heard stories and rumors that mages live in Cavitus as well. That's another city. It's where Vecna lives. It looks like a giant skull, but it's a whole city inside of it.
Yes, that's one of the only places I've heard of magic, so you can imagine how rare and valuable it is here.
Maybe you're right, my bones are wrong, and we end up having to pay her a visit.
Who?
Sia will pull out her book, because that's where she would have written, or she would have at least stored their whole letter that they all had. She would have stored it in her book.
Yep.
I look over at Erastus. Is she going to talk to the B-word lady you were referencing before?
The
There
one
was
with
talk
the,
about-
with the sword.
She also
Oh.
had a sword.
Oh. No, but that does remind me, and Sia will write in her book to Kino.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh shit.
Just gonna tell her,
You don't get a response. Whatever you write from Kino, you don't get a response, and Kino, remember that's a save for you.
Damn it! Stop it.
you wouldn't know
Stop it.
that. but
No,
she's-
no, Sia doesn't know. Sia has no idea. Yeah.
No, she was literally just gonna tell her, I hope you made it safe. Of all the times I wish you were here, it's right now.
I'm gonna have the worst morning.
Yeah, she's just gonna tell you, hopefully, fates allow, we cross paths again. I miss you already.
Oh,
It was-
thanks.
Another save.
Thanks a million.
You're welcome.
Like a little heart at the end, and the heart's a separate save. And P.S. And just I have to make another one.
She's
Yep.
just gonna write to you every day until he responds, not
God,
knowing.
no,
Yeah.
please.
No, that's. I mean, that's why not, right? I mean, that's exactly what you would do. So.
She
yeah.
doesn't get a
Yo.
response. She's gonna know that
Ugh.
the same thing happened to Kino that happened to Abel, that the link wore off.
Maybe I died. Maybe don't worry about it.
Maybe Kino dies and we never see her again.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not even try.
Oh.
But yes.
Bruh, I stand corrected. My bones were wrong. We do need to go to Torgarak.
Why?
That's where we have to find
Yes.
the Sword of Kaz.
The what?
Sword of
You-
Kaz says we have to go to Torgarak. And then we have to find the Sword of Kaz to destroy Blackberry, and it's the only weapon Vecna themselves has enchanted with enough power.
To
Doesn't
kill
say where
Acer.
it is though, but it says
Hmm.
Torgarak.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's why I didn't want to say what it was because it's kind of a big thing.
That's kind of a bummer,
I-
but that's why we're here.
Yeah. Bummer's an understatement. What? Why?
We have to try and save our world.
From who?
Multiple
Vecna?
powers.
Asarak.
With that, I wouldn't know that name, right?
No, you have no idea who that is.
A bad guy. A real bad guy.
An extension of Vecna, essentially.
Sure. So you came to get the Sword of Kaz. Huh. Well, that's
Short end of it is come from obviously another plane of existence.
Yep.
Sort of
Erastus, is Erastus back yet?
Now he is at a hospital, and when he dipped out, that's probably because something went south.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. Yep.
so. What is it? Oh gosh, what the well, what the fuck
You-
have I gotten into?
You've gotten into your one and only ticket out of here from the sound of it. Short end is we come from another plane of existence. Entered a place called the Tomb of Horrors, which Vecna has a semblance of power there due to a Sirak. In order to normally defeat a Sirak, to the extent that they don't return and seek harm on our plane of existence again, had to come here to retrieve that sword from Vecna, because my understanding is the Sirak pulls some of their power from Vecna.
So, Umbra, one of the things that you're going to naturally assume is all of these people are from Greyhawk. They must be.
Huh.
We need that sword
Oh.
to destroy the phylactery that houses the spirit of the Sirak. The way to destroy it formally is to get the sword.
Okay. And he's kind of rubbing his head and he's just looking around and you promise you'll help me get out if I help you. I mean, I've already saved your life once.
I look at everybody and go, it's good for me, you know.
Yeah, of
Sure.
course.
We were on our way out anyway, so we lost one companion thus far.
Yep.
Yeah, where is Miracle? And wait, we also lost Docs.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, technically lost two companions, I guess.
That's yeah, one technically.
For your time, or another
Alright.
member of our group.
Just
They
woke up and he was dead.
Yeah.
She was dead.
Crassus pushed
Oh.
her dead body off the cliff for fun.
Out of
Not
character,
his- not his best
Henri
moment.
was there for that.
I remembered Henri was.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I actually out of character was like, who the fuck is Dux? But then when you say push the body off the cliff, I was like, oh, okay.
Docs with
Yeah,
purple
yeah,
eyes.
not his best moment.
Oh.
Depends on what you mean by best.
Depends on how many moments. Huh?
Yeah.
I stand up and I sort of snap the goggles back over my eyes and, well, dying on my own 2 feet, I guess.
That's the spirit.
Okay, so in order to do this, Pirvin, and first of all, kind of explain to me what you plan on doing, Umbra, to get through the forest first.
I can naturally turn invisible once a day without expending a spell slot,
How long does it last for?
and it lasts for, I believe, 1 hour, but I can recast it using a first level slot.
Okay. You're pretty sure that it's only going to take 1 or 2 hours to do this. Hopefully less. I mean, every single second's going to be an adrenaline pumped, like, we're going to die doing this. But and you've never done it before. This will be your very first time. But so you're pretty sure 2 hours is good enough for this.
Yeah, and I can just recast it before it goes away.
Now, if Puravan does not make us, for instance, if Puravan alerts any kind of monster because he stepped on a twig or something like that, you will still be relatively okay because he's going to be taking a bunch of the heat as he literally tries to dash away to run through this. The only thing, by the way, that's wrong about this, and I don't know why it's a typo, 1 inch is not 40 miles. 1 inch is actually 4 miles, but so keep that in mind as well. You're only looking at probably at full speed. I don't know, Paravan, what's your speed again? Is it 30?
Yeah.
Or is it, okay, 30. Yeah. So you're only looking at, like, if you're running at the, like, for your life essentially, it's still only going to be it's only going to be like maybe a 20-minute like really intense run all the way back to the river. It's only going to be, like at the most 8 miles. But that's if you're really really running, that could even be an hour depending on how things go. But but keep all that in mind. Like, you can get back and go through this. The danger comes into the place where the deeper you're in, if Piravin's detected for whatever reason and he can't be invisible, that's where things get bad. So you're gonna have to make a choice to either cast invisibility on him or rely on his stealth.
Can I ask a question? I would like to cast enhance ability on them.
Would I know?
But I don't know if it works if there. I don't. There's no range on it. So if I cast the spell and concentrate on it, even if they're away,
it'll still work.
Okay,
So
thanks.
there is no the way that should work is that as long as you don't have concentration broken, which should be pretty easy if you're just gonna sit there,
Mhm.
it'll work.
Okay, thank you.
I can also cast enhance ability.
Would I know anything specifically about divine magic?
No,
Okay.
no, you would not. You've never seen it before. No.
Okay. Also, out of the tiny hut is going to appear a small, sort of brown and beige spotted owl with two little feather tufts that look like ears. It's going to fly over and sit on my shoulder.
Aww.
You just make a moth?
Oh no, this is Lady Tally.
Benny angrily squawks.
You're in. I mean, she's a lady after all. Please treat her with some respect.
Theo will tell the exact thing to Kiri and let him kind of flutter over to inspect her if the lady allows.
I look at her and I go, "Do you allow it?" And she says nothing, and I wait a moment. She does.
You talk to your bird too?
Make it quick. We talk to each other.
Oh. Does oh, yours is cool.
Just a heads up, I cannot actually hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's cutting out really bad, unfortunately.
I'm hearing like every fifth syllable.
Yep.
But
yeah, it might be where he's at.
Yeah, I'm in an operating room.
Yeah, it's why there's some signal thing.
who are you operating on?
Right now test dummies.
Oh, okay. But yes, she's traveled a long way to be here with me, and she's kept me safe. But worst case scenario, I can have her draw a little bit of heat and fly away, and I'll call her back to me. But worst case scenario, I'll, send her off far away from us.
Does Theo reasonably know that this is a familiar thing seen?
Yes. No, absolutely. You'll know it's a familiar. Yeah. You'll know it's not real like yours. It's definitely familiar.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Pirvin turns to Umbra and asks, so what do you think the next step of the plan is?
Next step of the plan is you and me carefully move our way through the forest and try not to create a ruckus. Can you do that?
I can try.
I'm gonna help you guys.
Here,
Okay.
Pirvin, if you can get into that wood, that'd be great.
I'll keep an eye out.
All right. So you go ahead and cast. What are you casting?
I want to cast enhance ability, Cat's Grace, to give them dex advantage on dex saves, and when they fall 20 feet, they can't get hurt. But I don't know how to do it here with I don't know how to up level it. So it's exclamation point cast enhance ability, and how would I put it at third level?
So can you cast it on two people?
If I do it at third level, it's a second level spell. But if I cast it up, I can. But I don't know how to type that in.
If you don't want to burn a third level spell slot, I can cast it at second level as well.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
Okay, so I cast it on Pier, I guess.
Yep.
I will cast it on Umbral.
As you cast this ability and go through, it does go off. The spell goes through it as it, but every single place that they are touching the earth, the ground, or whatever, literally radiant damage spreads throughout the entire area into a 30-foot radius. You have now burnt out right outside of Umbra's house, all the grass, everything else. Radiant damage like literally succumbs to the entire ground in a 30-foot radius. You've never seen anything like this on this kind of spell before.
Oops. How
And
come
it
every
is-
time I
is-
try and help, something terrible happens?
No, the
Is that
spell did
center-
go off though. The
center-
spell did definitely go off, but you're gonna have to figure out what that means. You've never seen anything like that.
Is that centered on both of them or just the one that Gretna?
Do we
I'm just
take
Just
damage?
so
curious
for
then.
now, yeah, both of them. As long as the spells both went off, once you cast it, both of them. Anytime this specific spell is cast, that would happen. Any form of divine magic. So
Uh-oh.
Ah, okay.
So is
How
it
much
now?
damage?
Is
But
it
not
now
guidance?
like visible? Is the fortress
is.
now visible?
no, nothing
Okay.
like that. It didn't put your things in. It just this is a very small aspect of that. But you're gonna have to figure out what that means for things like healing and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're going with Divinity Original Sin rules where you have to drink poison to heal.
Well, I've never seen that before. That's new to me. What?
I'm just
Kind-
trying to help. Sorry.
I mean, did I actually take any damage, or was it just the
No,
ground?
you didn't take any damage. Neither of you did. You didn't take any damage at all.
What kind of magic was that?
It was to help you do your stuff better.
Well, thank you. But does it normally do that?
No, never, ever before. Never.
No,
Okay.
not that I've ever seen.
Never.
But nothing in this world really is correct, anyways. So why would magic be any different?
Well, no time
So
to unpack
Kirvin,
all
you
that.
now have advantage on dex checks. And you also don't take damage from falling 20 feet or less. Unless you're
Yeah,
incapacitated.
Okay,
Same
Perivium.
to Umbro.
Umbra, no L. Umbra.
Yeah, it's Umbra, Umbra.
Theo will quietly to the side as everyone is discussing this. She will just point out to Erasis. Do you think this negative effect with Gretna's magic has to do with the fact that we kind of laid that sort of magic into the stone as we wish to be brought here?
You know, magic isn't really my forte, but logically speaking, maybe. I know I just said nothing. Give me a minute to think about it.
Bless you.
So you see me snap my goggles down, and I say, "Well, are we doing this?"
You got an hour, hurry up.
All right. You see me
Okay.
snap my fingers, and from the feet up, I go completely invisible like Predator.
Okay. Yep.
Perivium just kind of like looks around.
Gretna is just a hockey mom.
Yep. So is the plan? You will be invisible, and Perivin's gonna try to stealth, right?
Yeah, I need to see him. If we're both invisible, I can't follow him.
Right. Okay.
So I wanna follow him, watching him.
Yeah.
And make sure
Okay.
if things go south, I want to try and draw attention away from him and hide him.
Okay. All right, Pervin. So Umbra's going to lead you into the safest pass to cross the river again. Once you cross the river, and you guys wait just to make sure there's no more soldiers or anything else. You have, by the way, as you get out, you can still hear the very distant sound of maybe battle clashing, although it's so far away at this point that once they pass the burning peaks, you wouldn't be able to see or hear much. However, once you know that it's safe, around this area here, you start to make your way for the road. As soon as you do that, Pirvin, you can go ahead and make a stealth check, but it's not going to matter because you have no cover. You're out in the middle of like nothingness. And then as soon as you get to this road, let's see, what is your stealth check?
16.
Okay. All right. So as soon as you get to this road, you notice the Pirvin is going to start very, very like quietly go through and try to get into the forest itself. So let me explain what you see, Pyramid. So immediately when you get in, as soon as you hit the tree line, in Umbra, you would have warned Pyramid about this, and Pyramid, you see it for yourself. It becomes instantly night. Even though it was twilight outside and almost like a glimmer of morning was touching, it is now pitch black night, um, which you were able to see through fine.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So, but you notice the change. Matter of fact, when you look up, you can actually see the stars in the sky. Um, the first thing that you notice is that the sulfury smell just dissipates and goes away. Also, you're not under that weird effect of all of the weird temperature change that happens all of a sudden. It's now just a cool, like 60 degrees. Everything is deathly quiet within this forest. Every now and then you see glints off into the distance of eyes and other things. You know you're not alone. With a 16, you are actually able to make your way very, very slowly through this. After about 15 minutes, so Umbra, you're going to be the one making the investigation checks and then trying to explain because he doesn't really know what he's looking for. So you're going to have to go through and make an investigation check in this general area to see if you find anything. So we'll start with the first 15
Yeah.
minutes. And yep.
And I'll be
He does
whispering
have
to
to
him.
go incredibly slowly. Your Pyravin is not as good at going into this as you expected, and you also tell Pyravin that very quietly as well. It's just let's go
Is it-
really slowly. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but isn't stealth a dex check, or that wouldn't work that way?
No, stealth is generally a dex check. What did he make?
He did a 16, but he didn't do it at advantage.
Oh yeah,
my
you
fault.
have advantage on this. You have advantage on it.
13 plus 7 is 20 for an investigation check.
Okay.
I
And
got
what?
a
So
dirty 20.
okay, all right. Well, that's better. So in 15 minutes you covered a lot more ground, which lowers the DC for you anyway. So you're actually able. So at this point, even though you guys are relatively going, you find one of these. So this is what ends up happening. You actually notice it, and you know quietly like tug on Pyravin to get him to come over. And Pyravin, you see this too. It's a small fleshy plant, and what that means is it looks like a small tree, very small tree made out of flesh, and then where the leaves would be are these weird bone-like fragments and almost look like coral on the top, but it's very clearly flesh on the bottom. Hanging from that tree is what looks like a small, completely encased in flesh human with no eyes or anything else. That's what you pick and eat. So you can harvest one of them. Umbra, you know that these will last once picked. These will last for a day, and then they will rot like a zombie and spoil, and you can't eat them anymore.
Ew.
Yeah, this place is charming. Trust me, it gets just wait.
I love this. This
Yeah.
part I like. Not so
Yeah.
much the child soldiers, but the human fruit I love.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Can you see now why moms might not have wanted, like, thought that D&D was satanic and like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? 9-year-olds are having sex and dying. What the fuck is going on right now? Like, I can just imagine like the absolute like awfulness that would have attributed to this. But yeah, this is all canon. This is a real thing that's written. But anyway,
Also,
I
yeah.
get it.
this also, it must look like someone just hanging in the jungle. Like it must look like someone's just
Yeah, no, it's small though. It's a miniature
Yeah.
version of this, but that's
It's a
exactly what it looks
gnome.
like. That is exactly what it looks like. It looks like maybe a small fairy-sized person, but they have no eyes or anything else. They're just skin on everything. That's what you eat. But yeah, that, by the way,
Eat.
the thing that originally is actually very boring. That's my interpretation of it. Anyway. It doesn't matter.
Oh wow.
But regardless though, everything else, a lot of the details I actually made mine because I if I was writing it, I would have done these things. However, everything else, like the child thing, all that stuff, that's 100% canon. You can look it up. It's in the Vecna module. But anyway, so yeah, so we're going with it. But no, this place gets even worse. You'll see. It's a horrible, horrible place. But anyway, which is why it's a domain of dread. Which is why I was saying they're not pulling punches. This place is actually awful. So, but anyway. So you found your first one.
Are you
What would you guys like
whispering
to
to the fruit pyramid? Is that what I'm seeing?
No, I was getting to it. I'm gonna use psychic whispers on the both of us.
Yep.
And have to roll a d8 and for however long I rolled that D8 for is how long we can speak for an hour.
Awesome. That will be very helpful in this. That will definitely be helpful. Yep.
So we can speak telepathically for
I was about to
6 hours
say
now.
after you tugged on him. So this is actually great because one of the things I was going to do is after you pick the fruit, since you had to tug on him and go through this, and the first time, I mean, if you're doing it before that, that's fine, Pirvin. But you're gonna have to make. I'm actually going to make perception checks because any time that you interact with one another and make any noise, you can get ripped to shreds. So if you cast that beforehand, we can say that you're talking telepathically, which will make a big difference here.
I'm definitely gonna say that I did this previously.
Okay. So how long does it last for?
6 hours.
Okay, so you guys are good with
Whoa.
that. That's very helpful then.
All right. So I'll just be guiding him now. Once he picked that.
And I'll pick it.
Okay. All right. So there's one, and it's around the size. It's around 8 inches tall. The body, so it's around 8 inches tall. And it's pure flesh. No, there's no like hair in it or whatever. It's just pure flesh, no eyes. The mouth is like covered in flesh as well. Yeah. So now so now you guys are like you're less than a mile in, but again it's like pitch black night and going through it, although Pirvin, you're not really affected by this. Go ahead and make another investigation check, and Pirvin, give me a stealth check too. You get it with advantage again.
I make another perception check.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. 21 for me.
Okay.
24 for me.
Okay, so as we get in further, perfect. So that's good. So Pirvin, you're able to walk a little faster now with him being invisible. You can go through and make more ground. One of the things you notice, you're gonna have to make a decision at this point. There are actually two of these bushes. However, they're they're getting dangerously close to the Fortress of Cass, which means that they're less than 3 miles from the Fortress of Cass. This is the farthest you've ever been into the Fortress of Cass. You have no idea what's up there. You can either make the decision to try to pick these, or we can move on to other ones that might be safer. You do at this point, Pirvin, you have actually seen a creature that did not notice you, that looked like it was the size of a bull. It had some kind of like reptilian shards all over it, and it had razor sharp teeth, and it looked like it had like poison coming out of its like back for some reason. It's like this liquidy, like poisonous like thing. It smelled terrible as well. You actually could smell it before you saw it. So you already have seen one of these things, and they're pretty awful. But you have seen lots of different kinds of shapes. So this is just one type of creature that exists in this forest. It didn't notice you though. Anyway, so
Gotcha.
you have to make a decision. There's two closest to Fortress of the Cast, or we can go on deeper into the forest, the other direction.
Umbro, what do you think the best move is?
Stay far away from that fortress. Don't tempt fate.
Okay.
Let's move.
All right, so you guys double back and go down here. With your stealth check, you are able to actually make it through the open plain and get back into this now much, much denser forest that backs up to the Burning Peaks. After around 30 minutes, you do find your next one that you can go through. You have to wait because what you see, Umber, this is the first time you've seen these as well. You have no idea what they are, but you think everything in this forest might probably try to kill you, and so it's just not worth it. But you see these very small glowing, almost they look like pixies, dancing around one of the trees. As you start squinting and looking, both of you make a perception check because you're still pretty far away. They're about the size of the bodies, but go ahead and make a perception check.
I got a
12?
17. Pirvin got a 12.
Okay. Umbra, you can see this pretty clearly. They look like miniature. They basically look like naked pixies, but their mouths look like they have like jagged like teeth that overlap their mouths or whatever. They look like they're probably not nice creatures. But
Those
from the
are
back, they
awesome.
actually look like pixies, just like naked women with wings, essentially, that are glowing. and they glow a very faint blue-green color. So you're gonna
Thank
have to wait for those if you want to get through it. But so make a decision. Do you want to wait around, or do you want to try to get another one?
Don't go for those. It's a bad idea.
It does look like they're doing something like dancing in a circle, whatever. You might be able to wait them out, or you can just move on and say screw it.
Time is of the essence.
Right behind you.
Okay. All right. So you guys move on. So go ahead and give me another investigation check, stealth check.
Umber got a 21. Pirvin got a 20. I lied. Umber got a 20. Pirvin got a 21.
Okay. So after about 10 more minutes, you find another. Luckily, you find one that's actually underneath a bunch of these growths that you've seen before. They're kind of like mushrooms that have like gone over. That sometimes what happens in this forest is that in like a rock or something else, there's like this basically like almost like canvas like net of these really awful smelling like mushrooms that stick together. And you're lucky because underneath one of these is one of those trees. It looks like you can just harvest this one. This one should be safe to harvest.
I triple check it before he gets close to it, and I go,
Yeah.
okay.
It does look safe. Yeah.
And then I'll go ahead and take it.
Okay, so that's 2. All right. Now you guys are within this area here on the south, if you can see Discord. You're going to have to work your way up into the deeper part of the forest now. So go ahead and give me another investigation check, another stealth check.
20 for Pirvin on stealth, and 24 investigation check for Umbra.
Okay, so after another 10 minutes or so, there's actually another one of these that's connected into the forest that's open. There are monsters around it. You guys take your time. The monster that you see, Pirvin, that you can actually make out, looks like it's some kind of like weird demonic entity where its legs look like they're bending in the wrong direction. It's red, it's got horns, it's like 7 feet tall. It actually looks pretty terrifying, and it's moving in the other direction. You wait it out though, and you guys can scurry up and get it quickly and pick this one.
This isn't affecting him at all, is it?
No, it's just I mean, not affecting him from a mechanic side, but you're bothered by it. You've never seen anything like it. This is not something you've seen before, but it's definitely a demonic like thing. It looks pretty scary. So
Pay them no mind. They get worse. They get much worse.
okay.
I just used my own determination to prove the group that I want to actually help.
So you have 3. How many more are you going to try to get? You're running. So right now it's you're running on like 50 minutes.
Well, we need 2 more, right?
Yes.
So you have, so you're gonna have to recast in 10 minutes. Just so you know, which you would know. So in 10 minutes, you need to get somewhere safe and recast.
All right.
Or you can press your luck and we can go into or we can. There's a couple things you can do. Number 1, you can just try to make your own stealth check and get somewhere safe and recast, or you can do an investigation check and try to find one before it runs out.
I want to try and find somewhere. Maybe Pirvin could help me because he
Yeah, that's
seems
fine.
to be
Go
a bit
ahead. You
better.
guys can talk amongst yourselves, telepathically. Go ahead and do a stealth check, and Pirvin's going to try to help you as well. You can be aided with this. You can get an advantage on your stealth check with Pirvin helping you telepathically.
Oh, I'm not stealthy.
Yeah, you're going to have to make a stealth check so that you can get somewhere, make no noise, and recast. Invisibility is verbal semantic, right? I'm almost positive it is, but
Yeah, let me just check.
yeah. So you're gonna need help with Pirvin.
Yes, it is verbal, and I got an 11 on the stealth check with advantage.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Pirvin, you can already tell that he is not, unfortunately, not going to be quiet enough when this invisibility wears off. But you do give him the best possible place that he could at least stay there and not be seen for a little bit. Although these monsters are wandering around, so eventually he has to cast. You already know this is a terrible position. What would you like to do in that sense? He's going to be seen when he recasts. What would you like to do?
I also
You're
have a
deep
way.
in the forest now. You guys are deep. You're in here, so even if you try to book it out and we go through a chase scene, you're looking at 8-9 miles, which is a lot to run through a death trap.
How would we be able to use the 10 minutes to loop back towards the group?
Oh yeah. That's what I was about to say. Is when you're going through it as you are talking. That's why I made you make the stealth check. That's why I need to know the plan because you go through it. You think to yourself, Umbra, yeah, you're fine. You can totally do this. And Piravin realizes, no fucking way. We're gonna be caught. So you have 10 minutes to decide what the plan is right now.
I mean, if you don't think I'm alright, we could head back to the group and maybe do that.
You're not gonna be able to make it all the way in 10 minutes, but you might be able to find in 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes, this is what you've got. In 10 minutes, if you and here's the problem. Piravin can move pretty quickly. You're invisible. You're still going to make sound as you try to book it, and you're going to have to just book it. Now, the good news is that all the monsters with their perception checks, it's going to be very hard. They're not going to be necessarily even be able to target you until they can pinpoint the sound, unless they have tremor sense or all the other stuff. So they have disadvantage for the most part on this if you book it. If you're quiet and try to go through this, though, again, Piravin can kind of like walk you through the forest to get in the best possible like place. But the problem is you've already kind of explained to Piravin telepathically, this is what I need to do to cast invisibility again, and Piravin like, he's an expert at this. He knows it's not going to work. He knows you're gonna get something's attention when you cast like that. So yes, in 10 minutes you can get to about here at your best with Piravin helping. That's still a good 6 miles. That's why this is so dangerous, guys. This is the whole point. So, and Umbra, you knew this going into it, but you have no choice. This is just a
Yes.
dangerous, shitty situation.
Well, if
Piravin's gonna tell him that maybe we should, or I'm gonna ask him that what are his advantages whenever he becomes invisible? Like, if we do get monsters' attention and he becomes invisible, will they just forget about him and focus on me, or how are they going to act when we get their attention?
And Umbra, one of the things that you would know through this, just to be very clear, is that once you start casting, as long as Piravin can get the attention while you're casting, once you're invisible, you're pretty safe at that point as long as the monsters have focus. You can just run. Piravin might be dead. I mean, you might have to say that, but that's one way of doing it. The other way is to cause an enough distraction that you can cast invisibility. Piravin can somehow get away with stealth, and then you re-stealth, and then you guys can go through and try to get back. If you can't re-stealth, you have no choice but to run, and you're going to be chased, even as an invisible person. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. So the options are this: you can either try to book it now, which is safe, or you can ride everything together, charge your chances, and then what'll end up happening is Piravin, you guys work together, you get in the best place you can. Piravin already knows that there's no way that that spell is not going to cause things. So Piravin's going to have to do a distraction as you do invisibility. You both stealth, and only if you make it can you only if you make it Umbra can you retry to do this. If you don't make it Umbra, your only choice is to run because you have no idea if certain creatures can see invisibility at that point. Once or you could risk it and just think you're fine with invisibility, but I know you'd be cautious. So it's up to you guys. Whatever you want.
I will telepathically tell. I was in a situation like this once. I ended up getting out of it because I can create an extra dimensional space in 3 seconds or 6 seconds between the two. One action. I can basically call a rope that sends us into a little pocket of nothing. In there, I can recast invisibility. We could drop down. How
That'll
does
work.
that sound?
Yep.
Sounds like a better plan than I had.
Now, does that have a verbal component to it?
It does. So we're gonna have to haul ass.
Yeah. So what that means is that you would know this. So you're going to be spotted. You're going to get up there, and you're going to have to try to wait it out so the creatures just go away. Yeah.
It
Exactly.
lasts 1 hour, and I can
Yep.
see out of it,
Right.
and I can
Perfect.
make it disappear.
Perfect.
So
Yep.
we'll just watch.
Yep. Yep. That's perfect. Yep.
Is there any way that we are able to stealth enough to find more of these plants to at least be
Yeah.
on
So
them before we do that?
as long as the monsters go away, you can restart once you get out of this place. As long as everything's cleared out. Yes, that is the case.
Okay.
This is actually a good solution to this. So what he's about to do will work. You're going to be spotted, and then you get to see all hell break loose. You get to see exactly what happens when you are actually gone through, and then you'll get to look out of this while it's invisible. You are going to have to both climb up the rope quickly, and there is a mechanic for that, by the way. So you're actually gonna have to use either acrobatics or athletics to get your ass up there really quickly, which means it is a check before you're ripped to shreds. But other than that, it'll work.
Pearvin's down.
I have a question.
Yep.
I'm looking at the actual description of the spell.
Yep.
Can I use a 5-foot length of rope and make it 5 feet off the ground?
You can if you want. The only thing is that as you're doing that, it's a little bit awkward to go through it for both of you, but you could. You totally could. Yeah.
So we don't have
You
to
have to
make the
bend
check.
down. Yeah, that's right. You don't have to make the check. The only problem is that you can only, I believe you can only see out the bottom. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So you will not be able to see the monsters.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Usually that's why you always do it the 10 or 20 feet. 10 feet I think is probably the optimal thing in this case, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah. Should we do 10 feet?
Sounds reasonable. Wait, am I able to discern the height of the monsters?
You've seen one that's at least 7 to 8 feet. You don't know any. You haven't seen all of them. Now here's the thing. To get up there quickly and go through all this, just keep this in mind. This is actually fucking straight up second edition, by the way. Everything we're doing right now, but this is how second edition was played out. These minute details for this stuff. But outside of this, though, the thing that's also important is that how long is the casting time? Like, how long does it take to cast? Is it
One
instant?
action.
Okay, so
It's-
6
yeah.
seconds essentially. Okay, all right, that's
So
fine.
it's still within the 10 minutes, so you still have advantage on
Yeah,
Dex.
right.
Okay.
Yep, that is correct. Yep.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to ask you because I don't know if I would have seen this. Do I know how long these sort of the feeding frenzies last?
No, you're gonna have to watch it, and you don't, but reasonably, once it doesn't find anything, you think it's not gonna, it shouldn't last an hour. So
Okay.
because it's not gonna have
All right.
anything. So the problem is that there could be a chain reaction with other monsters, but you're gonna have to watch and see what happens. You've never really seen this up close. You've always ran if you got even close to this shit, but
Are there only monsters as inhabitants of this area?
he doesn't know. He thinks so.
Okay.
Monster is a broad term. So yeah, are we feeling this? Should we go with this? I pull out a piece of powdered corn extract and a twisted loop of parchment, and are we doing this? And my hands are shaking.
And I just nod my head.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay, so immediately when he starts to cast, and he's doing it as quietly as he can, but as forceful as he needs to get the spell off. Piravin, you're going to notice this first since he's preoccupied. The air changes, and you can physically feel ears perking up around you. The hair on your neck stands up. You're like, what the fuck? Like you've never felt anything like this. You can, for some reason, the gaze that whatever's gazing at you, it's like a physical thing. Like, so you're like, holy shit. So he gets it up on the 3rd to 4th second. You actually feel like this was a terrible idea and it's going to be too late. Like you can feel things closing down on you. A matter of fact,
Also,
you now
Chris.
see out. Go ahead. Go.
Sorry, I just because I would have practiced this at some point.
Yep.
Would I know if because I don't want to cheat this and be like, if something bad happens, I say it after the fact.
Yeah.
Extra dimensional stuff in this world. Is there like any downside?
No. You've done this before and tried it out, so
Okay.
no. No. You've done this.
Alright.
Yeah, I definitely would not make you do a spell that you've never tried before. That would be suicide for you. So you would have tried all these spells. So yeah. So on
Alright.
third or fourth second, you're like thinking to yourself, "Holy shit, hurry up!" And then you see it. It's around 100 feet away from you, but you see that weird demonic thing that you saw before is looking right at you, Pyravin, and coming for you. On the 6th second, it goes through. Since you're furthest to the rope, go ahead and make your. You can make athletics or acrobatics, whichever one you want. Probably Dex is the one you're going to choose with advantage.
Advantage, yeah, for
yeah.
acrobatics.
But try to get up there as fast as you can. Go ahead and make your check first. Pyra's going to be right behind you.
17.
I'm going to portent my roll to a 13.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So, so unfortunately, he's still struggling up. You would have actually been much quicker, but you couldn't go first because he's casting and he's got the rope in his hands, and both of you are now like scared out of your minds. However, with your 17, even though he has a 13, you try to push him up as well. So Pyravin, you're also like desperately trying to get him up with you. You make it just in time as this thing literally goes to like slash your freaking your foot off. And this is what you see. First you see the demon get underneath, and then you start to see a swarm of these literal glowing like those pixie things you saw before, and they just start biting and attacking this demon thing to the point that it starts shredding them. Like there's hundreds of these things, and you see like a mist of blood as this demon starts shredding them and going through, and it kind of runs off. But then you also see that there are these very large, they look like they actually look like they're rotting corpses, but they're pigmen that look like you haven't seen these either. And they are just they actually have weapons on them, and they're making this very like weird call where they're using this guttural voice that goes through and starts screaming at the top of their lung like a pig, like a squealing pig. And then like four of them come out. All of them have spears, they have shields, but they look like they've actually been killed. They look like they're completely undead, and they start looking around the whole area and start sniffing around. And then what you see is this very large, it looks like a very sharp scaled dinosaur, like a T-Rex almost, but it's got like these bones, ridges, and like all these sharp like bones sticking out of it. And that comes through and literally slams into three of the pigmen and literally just eats like two of them in one bite, takes its claws, cuts the other one in half, disembowels it, and then the other one just kind of like literally runs for it. And this now very large creature looks like it's keeping everything else away, because there were many other things that were coming in this direction, and you can tell looking out of it, you can't make them out, but you can tell this thing's scaring it away. And eventually, after 20 minutes, and it basically throws a fit, by the way. It starts basically digging up the ground. It could smell where you were. It goes through and it starts looking everywhere. At first you get really scared because it's like this thing is not leaving. Like it's really trying to find you. But after around 20 minutes or so, it does go off. And then after that, after around 35 minutes or so, the forest now becomes silent as well. But you're
I'm
sure that if that big creature didn't come, there would have been a lot more things coming at you.
I'm taking notes the entire time. Just
Yep.
scraps
These
of
are
paper
most
that I
of these
have.
things you've never seen. These are all new, horrific things that you didn't even know existed in this forest. Besides, of course, the fairy things.
This is the coolest day ever. You guys are the best. I've never done this much.
I'm glad you're having fun.
It's crazy. Look at how much we've got to see.
Umbra is the kid at the end of The Incredibles when the plane falls, and he's just like, "That was totally
That
wicked."
was totally wicked.
So now you will be able to. So if you wait at least 45 minutes, you're going to be able to come back down and start again. You'll be good.
Yeah, I'll
Where's-
recast invisibility.
Sorry, what was that, Sia?
I was just saying Umbra is Sia's new best friend. Erastus is not replaced, but Umbra is Sia's new best friend.
I've been.
Oh,
really
and by the way,
excited about
Sio, yes, you totally can do that. By the way,
I'll
if you
remember
want to.
this, yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
I figure out after session if it worked or not.
Yeah.
Can Bimmy fly? Like high? I know.
Bimmy can fly here. However, there is that weird silver mist after. So one of the things that Bimmy can fly around 100 feet without wrecking into the silver mist. After 100 feet, you don't know. Bimmy might not make it because that weird silvery mist is like up there. You just barely see it. It's like hard. Like, so I should explain this. When you guys look up into the sun when it's twilight, everything starts to sparkle and glimmer, but it's because of the mist. It just dissipates the higher you get up there. So you don't exactly know how high it is, but you're thinking maybe 100 feet or so.
What would
Hmm.
The
describe
trees are
area?
I would
taller
like to
than
fire
that. The
crossbow
trees are
bolts
taller than
straight up.
that. Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to fire.
You're cutting out, Erasmus.
Please don't tell me I heard. I thought I heard I fire a crossbow bolt.
Well,
No.
he's too far away. He wouldn't be able to target anything
Yeah,
or
it seems
whatever.
like
But yeah,
I just got home and had to switch to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No, I want to fire crossbow bolts straight up, and I'm gonna obviously step out of the way when it comes back down. But I want to see the condition it is when it comes back down.
Oh yeah. If you fire the crossbow bolt straight up, it does not come back down.
Well, that answers that.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Bimmy, you are staying. You are grounded.
Yep. So after 45 minutes, you guys can get down. You have 2 more to go through. You reluctantly, like, once you're pretty sure it's safe. When you get down, you're gonna have to make another stealth check, Pyramid, and then we can go on to your investigation check once you guys are ready.
Nat 20.
All right.
Yes.
So you're gonna be able to you're definitely gonna be able to do, like, in 10 minutes you're gonna be able to get like almost 4 miles with stealth, which is pretty incredible for you, Pyramid. So the way you're doing that is you're figuring out, now you're not gonna be able to catch up with him. Pyramid's gonna have to do this on his own and do his own investigation if you want to go through this. So you're basically going in between trees and like kicking off of them as you're like running down. You're gonna be able to do this really silently. You're gonna be able to use your full speed going the entire time, and I'm going to let you have a little bit extra because you got a nat 20. Now, if you want to do this, you need to telepathically tell him to stay behind it, and you're going to have to make the investigation checks if you want to go and try to cover this ground. Otherwise, you need to wait for Umbra.
And I got a 21 on investigation.
Okay. Well, first make the decision. Are you going to go without him, or are you going to wait behind
I'm
and
gonna
not
wait
take the ground?
behind.
Okay, all right. So you're not going to take the ground. Okay. So 21 investigation. It's going to be another 15 minutes or so. Sure enough, you find another one of these plants. This one's relatively safe. It's not in an open area, which is perfect for you guys. With Pyramid's help, you very slowly and quietly get into it, and you're able to harvest one. You only have one left now. Now you're kind of in the most dangerous area also, because now you're all the way in the back here. You have a couple different options. You can try to double back and maybe try to go for one that you missed all the way in the corner here, which is going to take a lot of time, or you can take the really risky route and go all the way to here, which is closest to the Fortress of Cass.
I think we should go back and try our luck somewhere else.
I agree.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right. So go ahead and make a stealth check and then do your investigation check. Let's see how long this takes.
You don't have advantage anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
15.
Okay. You're a lucky man. That is just the DC. All right. So it's good. So at first you guys start doubling back and you kind of get scared because you're like, holy shit, nothing's here. After around 45 minutes plus the time it took there, so you only have maybe 16 minutes left of invisibility, you finally find one over in this corner here. Now keep in mind you're still around 20 minutes unless you run at full speed, 20 to 25 minutes to safety. But at around that mark, you do find one and you're able to harvest it. Now you have a conundrum. You have 16 minutes left of invisibility. You can either go safely for the 16 minutes and try your best at stealthing with Pyravin's help, or you can try to double move and run. If you double move and run, Pyravin, he's going to make enough noise that monsters are going to try to get him. So what you can do is you're safe. You can stay in your stealth as long as your stealth holds up. You'll be safe. Or you can try to make a distraction and, I guess, try your best to get away as well. You're not going to be invisible though. At least he has the advantage of being invisible, and he's hard to target.
Right. I'm gonna convey to him that I think we should get as far as we can till we have to fend for ourselves.
Do you have do you have any way of Is there any way to get back how deep into the forest if we were to like head towards the road? Are we?
Right, you're right here. So you have another like so that's where it gets a little perilous. So you've got around 5 miles once invisibility wears off to get to past the road. Once you're past the road in the open plains, you could probably book it relatively safely because at that point there's no like forest or anything around you. So really once you get to the road you're safe. The problem though is that you still got like 5 miles or so, and unless you start running, which means that you can't really stealth, you're kind of screwed.
Hmm.
By our
I
own
mean,
hands, remember?
oh gosh, but I'm not sure how far. Even if we do make it, what if they chase us out of the jungle?
All we can do is run.
Oh gosh. And you said I only had 16 minutes left of invisibility?
Yes, correct.
I'm going to let's double move. I'm going to hold an action if I start seeing the same thing again. Oh, but they can smell us. Invisibility doesn't matter if the feeding frenzy starts. Do you want to try it again? I have the slots to spare.
If that's what you feel is safest, absolutely. Maybe this time we could just climb up a tree beforehand, like where we are right now, wait out that time, and then you can make your little portal and we can just hop right up into it.
That's a better idea. I like that idea much more. But be quiet about it.
I'm going to find the tallest tree I can.
Yep.
And
All
I
right, well,
still
maybe
have
not
a. Go ahead.
maybe not like the tallest tree. Maybe like something that's reasonable.
Okay, within 30 feet of me,
Yeah.
I'm going to spot a branch that's what 10 feet off the ground.
Yeah. Which you'll have. Yep. You have plenty of options for that. So. Yep.
And I'm gonna go ahead and cast Misty Step so I can just be there, and
Yep.
I'm gonna lower down my grappling hook to pull them up.
I'm good
If
with
Okay.
you
that.
And
want.
yeah, and then that's fine. And then get him in. That's fine. Yep.
I'm gonna hook it to myself, and I'm gonna give him a thumbs up.
I pull them up. Do I need to make a strength check for that?
Yeah. Just make a strength check. Are you going to be casting your verbal as he does this?
I'm gonna wait till I get to the top.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Yeah.
And I also have my weight, if that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I am about 180 pounds with equipment.
All right. So yeah, it's kind of tough for you, Pyramid. You can try that your best though.
I got a 3.
Okay, it's tough anyway. To be honest, it's really tough. You see Pyravin struggling. You have time though, guys, and Pyravin did already make his stealth check, so it's okay. It's taking forever, man. You might as well cast this and climb up, or at least you can start climbing up and help him. So you go ahead and make him as he tries to pull you up. Go ahead and make your own uh, athletics or acrobatics check to try to help get yourself up there. You guys are just exhausted. I mean, literally, this has been an exhausting, awful thing. So Pyravin's exhausted. He
damn.
just can't do it well.
5.
Yeah, so you both are in that. It's a good thing you didn't cast before. This might have killed you. So,
Yeah.
eventually, so you get up there in like 10 minutes. You're getting to the point where you're exhausted. Matter of fact, if you had to do this again, you're not even sure that you could have. Once you get to the top, now you can cast it and go through. You can use a short amount of rope. You're gonna have to cut it though.
Yeah. I pull out a small dagger and, well,
Yeah.
cut a little bit of rope and get ready. And I cast it. Hello?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So as you go through and cast it, you the same kind of thing happens in the sense that the very first thing that comes is those glowing pixies. You guys get in there pretty quickly. Then as this time as you go through and cast it, these things that you've never seen before, and there's literally like 40 of them, start clamoring up, and you feel like this like chittering bone sound. They're skeletons, but they're skeletons with like some kind of animal head that you've never seen before, and they start rummaging in. They actually have weapons on them as well. They came literally from the Burning Peaks area over here, and they came out of nowhere. Like you didn't even see these things coming. And there's 40 of them, and they're like going through, slashing at things. Finally, what you guys see is you see these very large monsters that look like they're. It looks like they're almost like crocodiles, but they're much larger than crocodiles. And they start coming through, and they start crashing into the skeletons and go through that. And then the pixies come back, and they start harassing things. And then you guys see that there's like this reddish mist, and the reddish mist literally takes every single thing that's in this whole thing, and it literally just cleans out all of the flesh on it, and they become bone. There's now just bleached white bone after this red mist comes through, and it literally feels like it was eating away at these things. So you saw their flesh get stripped from their bones. It took like 6 seconds, like an entire round, to go through and do this, and then everything is still, and that's at around the 30-minute mark.
Does it persist? The
No,
mist?
it looks like it's moved on, but it did go through everything. The red mist does look like it went through the trees and stuff, and it didn't affect them. But
Holy shit. I've never seen that one before.
You see that Pirvin's paying no attention, and he has this little blue and golden feather that he's twirling between his fingers.
Oh, come on. You don't like that even a little bit. Look at, I mean, we're doing the impossible. I've never seen anyone do this before. This is wild.
He breaks his, concentration for half a split second, looks over, and just looks back down at the feather as he twists it between his fingers.
Is your group normally this energetic? Because I mean, I must say this is amazing. I can't. You're extraordinary.
I just can't believe someone from this world has as much liveliness about the situation as you do.
I mean, of course, you gotta. I mean, you gotta have at least a little hope, right? A hope to go on. If I didn't, then I would just, walk into the city. Dying's easy. It's living. It's making a difference, which is hard.
Yep, Pirvin agrees. But he is,
So,
yeah.
do it. Make it worthwhile, right?
okay,
All right. It looks about clear.
yeah. So at this time, it is about clear. You guys can now. You're recasting invisibility, I assume.
Yes, I recast it.
Okay.
I,
All right.
right as
So
we're about to leave.
yeah. So you guys are going to be very careful. Don't bother making a stealth check now. You're just going to take your time. It's going to take at least 20 minutes to get out safely. Now, as you get through, you do now cross the river. To go through it, you have everything, and you get back to the group eventually. It's going to take another like 20 minutes or so. Is going safely. Pirvin, Umber doesn't have to do this because he's used to it, but Pirvin, just make your deck save to make sure that you don't get burned by the mist again.
17.
Okay, you're fine. So You guys now they're finally back with everything.
Oh God, did you guys go in my house?
Are we not in the house to begin with?
Oh, no, you can. It's no problem. You see all over the walls are like bits of paper where every millimeter of the paper is covered in sketches of monsters, of plants, of certain people, of landscapes, of leaves, and like words and like weird unfinished glyphs, and sort of in one corner is just a pile of like rags, kind of his size, but you see it's like just scribbles of a madman that are sort of pinned up, and there's a few rocks that are holding down a few stacks of paper, and you see the door open.
You've bided your time as well as anyone here could, I imagine.
It was amazing. It that you you all seem. I mean, I to be honest, I misjudged you. I mean, Pirvin was. He was super quick and quiet, and we saw monsters and we avoided them, and it was amazing.
He was the best.
Yeah. I mean, what are you guys, like heroes or something?
Yes.
I'm just shaking my head. No.
Adventurers at the very most, and that's being generous.
We're heroes to some and mild inconveniences to others.
I think that's an apt description. And don't worry about first impressions. Really, we're a varied assortment, and Erastus and I, at least, get the brunt of that. So used to it, but glad to see you've changed your mind. And the last, how long have we been here? We met him like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He pulls off the goggles and. Oh my gosh, I got so many good notes. Look at. I mean, we saw like mist and we saw dinosaurs and.
Oh,
Oh
you're
my
smart,
gosh.
aren't you?
I mean, relatively. Depends.
Once we go inside, is it possible for CO to pull out the Demonomicon and try and compare, see if any of this shows up in the book? She doubts
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
But can
Yep.
try.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can try.
We all have books.
What? You all have books. You know how hard it is to find books around here?
You have a book.
What? I mean, I've paper.
Sorry, guys. We're gonna have to end early tonight. I never have to do this, but something came up that I have to actually look at. It's for work. I'm really sorry about this.
You're fine.
But
I understand.
yeah, this sucks. But anyway, we're literally gonna start right where we left off from that. And then we'll go from there. Like I said, this will be more of a traditional adventure like we've been doing before. But like when we get into some of these second edition things, like I said, it's just a bunch of details with checks and other things. So, but
Good to me.
yep.
Yeah, cool.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, Chris.
All right.
Yep,
sounds
thanks
good.
a lot.
All right, cool. Thanks. And by the way, the what are we calling the other Tyler? What's his name?
Cochrane.
Cochrane. So Cochrane, I'll talk with you a little bit later. And now that you've seen like the area and whatever, you'll just have to create a character within this place, which does limit you a little bit, because there's only specific races here and things. But we'll get you in, and I can talk to you and go through it. So
Sounds good, man.
What if he was
Alright.
just like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't want to play. I'm good now."
yeah, I mean it could be that too, of course. Yeah, you have that option as
I'm
well.
down.
So yep. Okay. Cool.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
thank you, everyone.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry I had to end
That's
early.
okay.
Yep.
No, it's cool. It was all.
Thanks a
yeah,
lot. See you next week.
Yep.
Bye.
See you guys later.
Night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Hey, so how was that for a first session? I'm Tyler, by the way.